Chapter 938. Only a few dozen miles away from the dragon-slaying platform was the entrance to the forbidden ground where Yu Yuan had participated in the trial. A golden mountain that was almost 3,000 meters tall released a blinding light. Bolts of golden lightning danced across the surface of the mountain. The aura of laws and orthodoxies wrapped around the golden mountain, causing the mountains that contained gold and iron ore within 1,000 miles to undergo wondrous changes. Ancient god Golden Elephant, who had taken human form, stood at the peak of the mountain and stared at the heaven-sealing soul-dispersing formation right in front of him. On his left and right were two giant wolves with silver-gray fur. They were unusually handsome, and each strand of fur seemed to be absorbing the moonlight on their own. There was also a beautiful woman with a demonic aura and gorgeous feathers on her back. She was spreading her tail like a peacock. Ancient god Golden Elephant, Silver Wolf King, Peacock King, and the 3 rank 9 great demons of the Goblin Temple had arrived first. Under Grey Crow's lead, even more rank 8 and rank 7 demons were rushing over from Spider City on spirit artifact. Long Jie's roar suddenly tore through the sky. A bolt of golden lightning streaked across the sky. Long Jie, in his human form, suddenly stopped next to ancient god Golden Elephant, who was also in human form. The Silver Wolf King, whose silver eyes were filled with cruelty, opened his mouth. His fangs that could crush a rank 9 rock people flashed with cold light. Long Jie, the dragon race is so useless right now. With you as the leader, the dragon race went all out, but even Lu escaped to that great lake. The beautiful Peacock King was dressed in luxurious clothing. Every frown and smile of hers seemed to be able to charm all living beings. She pursed her lips slightly. Long Jie, the dragon-slaying platform won't be moved away from the dragon vein just because the 3 high sects made a promise. If the dragon race doesn't achieve anything in this battle, then you'll have to hide in the depths of the sea in the future. Don't expect a new dragon god to be born. The Silver Wolf King and Peacock King mocked him, not caring about his pride at all. Long Jie glared fiercely at the beautiful Peacock King and secretly swallowed his saliva. He thought that when the dragon beheading platform was moved away, when he became the dragon god, the first thing he would do would be to kill him. His lust for the Peacock King had been burning since the first time he saw her. Unfortunately, this great demon from the Goblin Temple was definitely not a good person. Although he was younger than him, he was extraordinarily talented. His ancient demon blood was extremely pure, and he had long been a level 9 great demon on par with him. If he could not become a dragon god, even if he recovered his peak strength, he would at most be able to defeat the Peacock King. Wanting to restrain Peacock King and make him helpless was just a fool's dream. Enough. The two of you, stop mocking him. Ancient god Golden Elephant frowned. This battle is of great importance. We cannot afford to lose. Since Long Jie and his dragons have chosen our side, we have to accept them. Long Jie, how long will it take for your dragons to arrive? 30 dragons will arrive in 2 days at most, Long Jie replied. 30 dragons. Ancient god Golden Elephant nodded. In another day, the 4 Freedom Realm demonic cultivators from the Devil's Palace will lead the experts of the Heavenly Evil Sect, Voodoo, Red Devil School, Jeweling School, and other sects to arrive one after another. When your descendants meet up, we will work together to break the formation. Jeweling School? Long Jie was stunned. Didn't I hear that they participated in that trading event? The participants were killed by the Jeweling School as a warning to others. Ancient god Golden Elephant's expression was indifferent. The Jeweling School's sect master personally went to the Devil's Palace and Goblin Temple to ask for forgiveness. He said that his disciples acted on their own and that he did not know about it while he was in the outer realms. The Peacock King laughed softly. I heard that the Guifu school wants to follow the example of the Jeweling School. The moment he said this, Long Jie's expression became strange. The Juling School and Guifu School sending their disciples to participate in that event was a kind of example. This was their way of expressing goodwill to the Shenhun sect. However, seeing that the experts of various races were left in the forbidden area and seeing that the three high sects, the Devil's Palace, and the Goblin Temple had gathered to officially attack the forbidden area and given the strictest warning, the Juling School and Guifu School were clearly afraid. They actually changed sides and chose to slaughter their disciples, cutting off all ties with the Shenhun sect. What about the blood god? Long Jie asked again. Anwen is stubborn. After the battle in the forbidden area ends, Zhu Zhening from the Devil's Palace will personally go to the blood god to talk to Anwen, ancient god Golden Elephant answered. Zhu Zhening, who was at the primordial soul realm, naturally went to the blood god to kill Anwen. I heard that the artifact sect also, Long Jie, who wanted to see the world in chaos, took out all the information he knew and asked. That person from the artifact sect directly left for outer space on a treasure ship after the trade fair. Ancient god Golden Elephant snorted softly. The master of the artifact sect said that he didn't know. He only said that the artifact sect will find that person and figure out the situation before making a decision. Long Jie nodded. Got it. In the southern part of the tranquil continent, the artifact sect, the Tongtian Trading Company, and the Medicine God sect had always been neutral. The artifact forgers of the artifact sect were the most stubborn group of people in the world. They never listened to orders and were not afraid of causing trouble. The Devil's Palace, the Goblin Temple, and the three high sects relied on the artifact sect for many things. If they really went all out and destroyed the artifact sect, they would lose all the humans and demons in Howren. To deal with the artifact sect, they could only divide them from the inside, not kill them all. Roar! Long Jie, who was deep in thought, suddenly let out a heart-wrenching dragon roar. In an instant, he transformed into his five-clawed golden dragon form. His enormous dragon body swayed in the air, clearly in great pain. The dragon beheading platform, my ancestor's dragon corpse, I'm afraid something has happened. Long Jie howled. Boom, boom. The earth shook slightly. The tremors came from the dragon vein in the Forbidden Land. Something must have happened to the dragon beheading platform, where the golden dragon's corpse is. The Silver Wolf King exclaimed. The dragon vein and the dragon beheading platform are both inside. We can't go in for now. The Peacock King was very dejected. I'm very curious about what happened to the dragon beheading platform. In another part of the world, an enormous golden dragon had been cut into 5 pieces. The dragon head was at the center of the world, and the 4 golden dragon corpse parts were at the 4 corners of the world. They were far away from the sinister golden dragon head. 4 golden rivers of dragon blood extended from the 4 halves of the dragon corpses to the dragon heads. The dragon head was like an island in the lake of golden dragon blood. There were dragon heads and dragon corpses everywhere in the open space. The green dragon, azure dragon, and thunder dragon were all rank 9 and rank 8. There were many more dragon corpses than the other 2 dragon beheading platforms. At this moment, Yu Yuan's Yin spirit had moved from the dragon beheading platform where the frost dragon corpse was buried. The great Yin soul spell was unleashed, transforming into a dark soul vortex that slowly rotated. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! Many young golden dragons flew out of the giant golden dragon's blood like golden lightning bolts. They were sucked into the soul vortex and disappeared instantly. Yui stared at his Yin spirit with a shocked expression. The dragon beheading platform rumbled and shook as if it was about to shatter again because the young golden dragons were swallowed by Yu Yuan's Yin spirit. Yui was shocked and wanted to stop Yu Yuan, hoping that he would stop, but she also seemed to know that she was powerless to stop him. This dragon beheading platform is different from the other 2. There can't be any accidents and it can't shatter again. As a former guard, She knew that this dragon beheading platform where the golden dragon was buried was actually the most important. As long as this dragon beheading platform still existed and suppressed the underground dragon vein, the dragons wouldn't be able to do anything. This was because it was this golden colossal dragon that had attained the Tao in this world and ascended to become a dragon god. That golden dragon had relied on the largest underground dragon vein. It was because of this that he was able to secretly control the empires of the Qian continent under the influence of Dragon Qi, and let the hybrids with his bloodline rule the world as the emperors of the human world. The dragon beheading platform where the space dragon and the frost dragon's corpses were buried could be moved, but not this one. If it shattered, it might affect the effect, and allow the rank 9 dragons like Long Jie to take the opportunity to upgrade their bloodline and become a rank 10 dragon god of the new era. Fortunately, what she worried about didn't happen. Heaven and earth shook. As the young golden dragons were swallowed by Yu Yuan's Yin spirit, the dragon beheading platform gradually calmed down. However, Yu Yuan became muddle-headed and half-awake. Chapter 939. Above the dragon-slaying platform, Yu Yuan, who had the fiendish demon cauldron floating above his head, suddenly stood up in his true form. He focused his gaze and looked into the distance. His gaze passed through the greenish-black magic energy barrier and vaguely saw a majestic golden mountain floating at the entrance of the forbidden area of the trial. That was the entrance to the forbidden area of the Silver Moon Empire. He also felt that the Golden Mountain was familiar. With a thought, he shouted, "Activate Wisdom Eye." Wisps of soul thought gathered chi, blood, and spirit energy and merged into his 2 eyeballs. Under his divine vision, the enchantment that sealed this part of the world instantly became transparent, like transparent glass. At the entrance of the trial, the enormous figures of the demon race and Long Jie of the dragon race became incomparably clear. At the top of the golden mountain was the ancient god golden elephant in human form, a huge silver-gray wolf that looked like it could swallow the moon, and an extremely beautiful woman with colorful wings behind her back. Ancient god golden elephant, silver wolf king, peacock king. These 3 level 9 demons had been famous for hundreds of years. When Yu Yuan was the haunch in his previous life, he didn't have much contact with the ancient god Golden Elephant. Instead, he had contact with the Silver Wolf King and Peacock King. Peacock King especially. Long Jie, who was howling and wriggling his huge golden dragon body, had a pained expression, which also attracted his attention. Could it be that the underground dragon-slaying platform caused his abnormality? Before the Yin God came out, he didn't know that the Yin God had used the great Yin soul art to absorb the space-time dragon, frost dragon, and golden dragon, as well as the tiny dragons, to dissolve the power left behind by the dragon slayer. But he already knew that the dragon-slaying platform was beneath his feet, that Yu was the guardian, and that the dragon-slaying platform was secretly connected to the prosperity of the dragon race. The ground shook from time to time, and Long Jie was in great pain. This made him guess that something had happened in the dragon-slaying platform that caused Long Jie's pain. With the heaven-sealing soul dissipating formation, the 3 level 9 demons, including Long Jie, shouldn't be able to see me. Yu Yuan narrowed his eyes and rubbed his chin as he pondered. I'm inside, and I'm compatible with the formation. I also have the all-seeing eye, so I can clearly see their movements. Those outside the formation would never have thought that I would be at the edge of the forbidden area. With this thought in mind, he paid close attention to every movement outside. He knew that before long, the great demons of the Devil's Palace, the Red Devil School, the Heavenly Evil Sect, and the Goblin Temple would all rush over. The Forbidden Zone faced the Scarlet Sun Empire, where the experts of the Tianyuan continent gathered. On the side facing the Silver Moon Empire were the various great sects and forces of the Tranquil Continent. Once the 2 sides finished gathering, they would officially make their move. First, they would break the sealing heaven soul dissipating formation, and then rush into the forbidden area. I hope that the light of hope given by the person in the bronze coffin can really become reality. The real me, I need to find the real me, he murmured softly. Gradually, his consciousness became blurry and his mind became unclear. He didn't know that at this moment, his own soul wandering around the third dragon beheading platform was in the same situation as him. It was also muddle-headed. At this moment, the connection between his own soul and his true body was no longer blocked by the dragon beheading platform. The own soul, the cauldron, and the main soul shared memories and thoughts, causing his true body to fall into this strange state. Silver Moon City. Behind the imperial palace, on an extremely tall tower, the new emperor Yan Gui, the head of the Su family Su Xiangtian, Yan Yu Wu Lai of the Wu family Cold Moon City, the head of the Han family, and other nobles of the empire gathered here. In the distance, the 1,000-foot-tall Golden Mountain was too eye-catching. Those who knew a little about the Goblin Temple knew at a glance that it was the Goblin Temple's ancient god Golden Elephant. They could also see an enormous silver-gray wolf bathing in the moonlight, as if it was absorbing the moonlight. Before long Jie transformed into a human, he could also be recognized as a giant golden dragon. Your Majesty. The muscular female general, Yen, you had a serious expression as she said worriedly, will this battle affect the Silver Moon Empire? The moment these words were said, all the experts of the empire present showed expressions of listening attentively. The entrance to the Forbidden Land wasn't too far from Silver Moon City, but it wasn't too close either. If any of the three great demons of the Goblin Temple fought without holding back, the shockwaves of the demon energy could spread to Silver Moon City and cause casualties among the mortals. Mortals, including warriors of low realms, wouldn't be able to withstand the shockwaves of the demon energy. They were all worried that this battle would affect Silver Moon City, and they were wondering if they should evacuate the people in the city to another city. It won't, Yan Gui said in a deep voice. There's one thing you have to understand. No matter if it's the Goblin Temple, the Devil's Palace, or the three great sects, they all have to choose disciples from the talented mortals of the Qian continent. No matter what, the empires of the Qian continent are the foundation of the future. Emperors can change, families can be destroyed, but mortals won't be killed in large numbers. Due to the rules, the 5 supreme forces and the various sects won't directly attack the mortal empires. If they break the rules first, the people of the Shenhun sect and the foreign experts who entered this world can easily wipe out the emperors of the Crimson Sun Empire, the God's Might Empire, and the Hui Yao Empire, as well as the various families. The empires need powerful families to maintain the stability of their countries. He explained seriously. Su Xiangtian, who had white hair and an elegant temperament, nodded lightly. Your Majesty is right. I also feel that there's no need to worry. No matter the result of this battle, we will only have to face the Crimson Sun Empire, the God's Might Empire, and the Hui Yao Empire. However, he suddenly sighed. What he wanted to say was that as the new emperor of the Silver Moon Empire, if the Shenhun sect lost the battle in the Forbidden Land and the returnees from the Outer Realms were intercepted, Yan Gui might be targeted by the 3 great sects in other ways. I'm mentally prepared. There's no need to worry. Yan Gui's expression was normal. Su Xiangtian said no more, but he admired him in his heart. Yan Gui was willing to give up his position and live under the Silver Moon Queen, Liu Pan, because he admired her. Regardless of strategy or skill, he was not inferior to Zhou Tsangmin. He hid his strength and bided his time, not revealing his edge. When something happened to the Silver Moon Queen, in order to protect her soul, he accepted the Devil's Palace's conditions and replaced the Silver Moon Queen as the new emperor of the empire, thinking of ways to protect her soul. Then, when the time was right, he overturned everything he had promised the Devil's Palace and stood firmly on the side of the Empress. It was Yan Gui's actions that made Su Xiangtian admire him. That was why he had made a choice before the Shunhun sect was famous. He hoped that His Majesty and the Empress would be blessed by the heavens. He also hoped that girl Su Yan would not be affected by her family and would have a place in the Taiyuan sect. Su Xiangtian thought silently. A whoosh, whoosh. One after the other, Yu Yuan's Yin spirit and one after the other, Yu Yi in the form of a spirit escaped from the underground pit. Yu Yuan's Yin spirit and his true body were in a daze at this moment, as if they were at a loss and did not know what to do. Yu Yi, who had left the dragon beheading platform with him, saw his Yin spirit return to his true body and could not help but exclaim softly, "Master, just now when you were underground." Before she could finish her sentence, Yu Yi's voice came to an abrupt halt. Because she found that Yu Yuan's true body outside was in the same form as his Yin spirit. She was afraid that he could not hear what she was saying. Why is it like this? Master's true body was affected by the Yin spirit? Isn't the dragon beheading platform able to isolate everything? She was secretly surprised. Finally, Yu Yuan's Yin spirit returned to his true body and flashed between his eyebrows. Yu Yuan, whose eyes had been wide open with a confused look on her face, suddenly closed her eyes. Then Yu Yi, who had a profound soul connection with him, felt that his cultivation base and soul were being cleansed by a mysterious power. Yu Yi covered her mouth and exclaimed, her face full of disbelief. Above the dragon beheading platform, Yu Yuan slowly sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes to stabilize his soul wander realm. The unusual power in his body soared madly because of this. Tiansong's spirit also left the dragon beheading platform and floated quietly in the air, staring blankly at Yu Yuan, who was cultivating with his eyes closed, without saying a word, a strange expression on his face. Chapter 940. In the dragon beheading platform where the space-time dragon was, the sparkling and translucent blood spirit altar was emitting a bright and clear blue light. It was still gathering the slender dragons formed from dragon corpses in this part of the world. On the altar, the eyes of Tiansong's true body suddenly became chaotic. Whoosh! The turbid demonic fetus whizzed over from afar and sat at the bottom of the altar again. The pure energy formed from the blood and souls of the dead spacetime dragons was no longer devoured by the altar. The inner world of the dragon beheading platform was silent. Then, in Tiansong's perception, the corpses of the spacetime dragon that had died more than 30,000 years ago seemed to have merged with the world and rejected him. It was as if a spacetime power was squeezing him and forcing him and the blood spirit altar to leave. Tiansong's expression was ugly. After staying in this world for a while, he found that the edge of the blood spirit altar was sputtering with small fragments of blue light. This was a sign that the blood spirit altar was being washed away by spacetime power, and the outer edge of the altar was about to be corroded. Damn it! With these words, Tiansong's true body and the blood spirit altar immediately separated from the dragon beheading platform where the spacetime dragon's corpse was buried. An azure ball of light entered the other two dragon beheading platforms like a blue fireball, according to the method taught by the God King in the bronze coffin. However, they were all rejected. Finally, with a swoosh, Tiansong flew out of the underground pit with the blood spirit altar. With a shake of his body, he transformed into a handsome demon man with long blue hair. The blood spirit altar, which contained endless wonders, was shrunk into a transparent blue crystal in the shape of a water droplet. He pressed the crystal between his eyebrows casually. The other subsoul fused into his true body. His eyes were cold and ruthless as he stared at Yu Yuan, who was sitting motionlessly. Why did you come out, Tiansong? Yu Yi was slightly surprised. Seeing that he was in a bad mood, she hurriedly flew into the fiend demon cauldron and stayed above Yu Yuan's head, on guard. I don't want to come out either. Tiansong clenched his teeth as a vicious light suddenly appeared in his eyes. I don't know what that brat triggered or absorbed when his own soul traveled through the 3 dragon-slaying platforms, but the dragon-slaying platforms rejected me. There are 3 dragon-beheading platforms, and I can't enter any of them. Hearing those words, Yue immediately realized why Tian-Song was so angry. The God King in the bronze coffin had promised to allow him to use the blood spirit altar to absorb the power hidden within the dragon-slaying platform in exchange for his loyalty. She also told him the method in detail. Before she and Yu Yuan arrived, Tian-Song was perfectly content with increasing his strength. But now, Yu Yuan's own soul had successfully fused back into his true body and advanced to the Soul Wander realm. Now, he was beginning to stabilize his realm. Tian-Song's plan was ruined, so it would be strange if he was happy. Don't do anything to my master. I'll go check out the situation first, Yue hurriedly said. Tian-Song nodded with a dark face. Whoosh! Yue's live soul floated down like a feather and escaped into a crack in a stone pit. Tian-Song didn't have to wait too long before Yue's soul flew out from the pit. Her pretty face was full of embarrassment and surprise. I can't go in either. What? Tian-Song was shocked. Before Yue was refined into the fiendish demon cauldron's artifact soul, she was the guardian of the dragon-slaying platform. Her body sat on top of the dragon-slaying platform, and her soul wandered around the complete dragon-slaying platform every day to check the 3 dragon gods' corpses and the many rank 9 and 8 dragons for abnormalities. Why was she rejected by the dragon-slaying platform like him? I don't need to lie to you. I don't know the exact reason, Yue said as she subconsciously looked at Yu Yuan. She guessed that Yu Yuan's own soul must have used the great own soul art to extract some kind of power left behind by the first master of the dragon-slaying platform. That was why the dragon-slaying platform was acting so strangely. Tian-Song glared at Yu Yuan with a fierce expression. When Yu Yuan wakes up, I want him to give me an explanation. Suddenly, he heard an argument. Tian-Song let out a snort. You stay here and guard him. I'll be right back. In the dark pit where the interrealm tunnel was located, Canli, Beirut, Mia, Quero, Sansom, and a number of heavenly devils were scattered in the surroundings. Occasionally, they would look down at the turbulent space below and argue fiercely. 8th and 7th grade bloodline warriors of various races were also arguing endlessly. At this moment, as the air transportation spiritual tools of the 3 high sects, the Spirit Void sect, the Thunder sect, and the other low-grade sects approached, many dark spirit clansmen could vaguely see the traces of those powerful experts and their enormous air transportation spiritual tools through the sealing heaven soul transforming formation. The sealing heaven soul dispersing formation could completely block the vision and soul perception of those outside. However, those inside would be able to see what was going on outside if they used unique bloodline magic. Outsiders like Yu Yuan, who had activated his all-seeing eyes, could even see the slightest movements outside with great clarity. At this moment, since the dark spirits had noticed what was going on, the 9th grade leaders of the various races couldn't keep it a secret anymore. All of them knew that they were trapped in the forbidden land of the falling moons, and that something had happened to the interrealm tunnel leading to the demonic abyss of calamity. Meanwhile, more and more powerful Howren experts were gathering outside. Many outsiders were shouting and venting their discontent because Yan Qiling, the representative of the Shenhun sect, and Zhou Yu, the representative of the Tongtian Trading Company, had left before the incident. Shi Quan, the withered sword, was the only human expert in this vast forbidden land that they could send out to fight. Unfortunately, Shi Quan was injured, and wouldn't be able to recover anytime soon. The outsiders who didn't carry high-grade bloodlines felt that they had been deceived by the Shenhun sect and the Tongtian Trading Company. They believed that the Shenhun sect had lured them to Howren in order to get rid of them. Some of the more extreme outsiders had already suggested that they kill Qi Yunhong, Shi Yuxuan, Qin Yun, and the other human cultivators before the sealing heaven soul dispersing formation was breached and powerful experts from the outside world poured in. The outsiders gathered at the interrealm tunnel in the Forbidden Land, shouting non-stop. Luo Yu, Shi Yuxuan, Qi Yunhong, Qin Yun, and the other human cultivators were gathered at the interrealm teleportation portal, all of them wearing gloomy expressions. Sometimes, the non-humankind experts yelled in the non-humankind language, sometimes in the non-humankind language. As the ghoul monarch, Luo Yu, Qi Yunhong, and the others could hear them, and knew what they were talking about. We're facing internal and external troubles. This battle doesn't bode well for us. Qin Yun sighed and said what was on everyone's mind. Everyone looked at the interrealm teleportation portal that couldn't operate because the sealing heaven soul dispersing formation had been fully activated. They felt like crying, but no tears came out. If the formation was still there, they could use it to go to the desolate god Great Lake, the Fiend Demon Sect, or the Azure Luan Empire. They might even be able to avoid a calamity. But at this time, seeing that the outsiders were in high spirits and shouting about killing them, they could only pretend that they didn't know. After all, their strength in the Forbidden Land was far from enough to fight against the outsiders. Ghoul monarch Luo Yu also felt a headache. Because of the sealing heaven soul dispersing formation, she had no choice but to use the ghoul monarch escape art to reach the Forbidden Land. Tian Tsang. The badly battered Luo Yu looked up and saw Tian Zong floating in the air above her. Lord Yu Qian. Greetings, Lord Yu Qian. Rank 8 heavenly devils appeared from the demonic clouds above everyone's heads and greeted him softly. The appearance of the heavenly devils made Shi Yuxuan, Qin Yun, and the others turn ashen. They realized that the heavenly devils hiding in the demonic clouds were secretly watching them to prevent them from doing anything unusual. I'll go appease those idiots, Tian Tsang said, then disappeared in a flash, ignoring the greetings of the devil generals and devil kings. P.S. Sorry I posted it late. We've been on the move all day, and it's rare for us to go out and play. Chapter 941. The human cultivators were gathered in the teleportation formations, while the foreign visitors were scattered around the realm passages. They were all looking for a way to leave the Forbidden Land. The teleportation formations could send human cultivators to the Fiend Demon Sect, the Blue Phoenix Empire, and the Great Desolate God Lake. The realm passages could send them back to the demonic abyss of calamity. Judging from their actions, they didn't want to be surrounded by the 5 supreme forces and Howran cultivators in the Forbidden Lands. This meant that they didn't have any confidence at all. What should we do? Shi Yuxuan of the Heavenly Medicine Sect shrank back under the cold gazes of the heavenly devils in the depths of the demonic clouds above him. He looked at Luo Yu and Shi Quan for help. Shi Quan sneered. What can we do? If those foreign demons really want to attack us, we can only face them head-on. Everyone could only smile bitterly when they heard this. How were they supposed to face them? The heavenly devils alone had 3 demon gods and a large number of demon kings and demon generals. They were more than enough to kill all the human cultivators present. Moreover, there were many bloodline experts of the Dark Spirit race, Star race, Silver Scale race, and Radiant race. The number and strength of the foreign experts couldn't compare to the combined forces of the 5 supreme forces, but it wouldn't be difficult to kill them. When they thought about how they wouldn't wait for the sealing heaven soul transforming formation to be broken and would be killed by the chaotic outer realm demons, everyone had a belly full of bitter and sorrowful water. Yu Qian. Lord Yu Qian. As soon as Tian Tsang appeared over the teleportation portal, all of the heavenly demons and outsiders greeted him respectfully. The Black Scales and Banshees who had suggested killing Qi Yunhong and the others suddenly calmed down. The heavenly devil Yu Qian's name had resounded through the universe 10,000 years ago. It wasn't fake. I represent the Shenhun sect. I am now a guest elder of the Shenhun sect. I have come to speak with you. Tian Tsang's handsome figure hovered elegantly in the air. The blue devil's tear between his eyebrows was like a third blue eye that shone with dazzling light. All of the ninth-grade outsider leaders and devil gods present shuddered violently. Tian Tsang was a ghoul king, and his body had come from the dark nether capital. With the blue devil tear in hand, the aura he released made all the outsiders realize how powerful he was. No one had the confidence to defeat him one-on-one. And he said that he was already a guest elder of the Shenhun sect and could represent the Shenhun sect. I can guarantee that the Shenhun sect and President Li did not plan to trap you here. I think the Divine Soul Sect's forces and your clansmen stationed in the Starry River are only temporarily blocked from entering the vast expanse heaven and earth. Tian Tsang's gaze swept over the outsider experts one by one. All of the outsider warriors that were caught by his gaze retracted their arrogance, and became silent and calm. Trust me, the situation will definitely change after a while. Tian Tsang hesitated for a moment before looking at Canli. I heard you say that the blood essence of ninth-grade experts can help Yu Yuan grow stronger? Canli's bright eyes shone as she asked, Did you eavesdrop on our conversation? Before Yu Yuan had gone to enter the Soul Wander realm, she had promised Yu Yuan that as long as Yu Yuan could successfully enter the Soul Wander realm, she would be responsible for asking Beirut and the other ninth-grade experts for a drop of blood essence to fuse with Yu Yuan's life altar, so that Yu Yuan's combat prowess would soar again. Only she and Yu Yuan knew about this, but Tian Tsang had just revealed it. Since you've promised, then you should help facilitate this. After all, not only has Yu Yuan successfully entered the Soul Wander realm, but he's also being baptized by a wondrous power. Tian Tsang's expression was solemn. I have a feeling that after he wakes up, he'll be able to resist external damage to the formation. Don't you think you're overestimating him, Lord Yu Qian? Caro, the leader of the Silver Scales, said. No matter how strong he is, even if he possesses the power of a young god, it won't matter, will it? Mia of the Dark Spirit race also didn't quite believe him. You and I both know how many Freedom Realm experts are gathered outside the Forbidden Lands. Only those who have experienced the power of a Freedom Realm expert can understand how terrifying they are. The other outsiders also chimed in, thinking that Tian Tsang was overestimating Yu Yuan. Tian Tsang's expression was cold as he let them shout and raise their doubts. When all of them finally fell silent, Tian Tsang said, I only have one thing to say. Listen carefully. Yu Yuan may be able to use the dragon beheading platform. The dragon beheading platform? The dragon beheading platform that seals the fortunes of the dragons? The dragon beheading platform that changed the entire Howren and caused the dragons to decline. Many experts of the alien races were horrified. Tian Tsang nodded slowly. All right. I'll take a drop of my blood essence and make a bet. Beirut of the Star Spirits gritted his teeth and made the decision first. Even though a drop of blood essence will weaken me slightly, it's worth a try. Caro of the Silver Scales growled. The other ninth-grade outsider leaders pondered briefly before nodding one after another, indicating that they were willing to contribute a drop of their blood essence to Yu Yuan so that he could continue to grow stronger. Their change in attitude was due to Tian Tsang's words, and the fact that Yu Yuan might be able to use the dragon beheading platform. The dragon beheading platform was a heaven-shaking, earth-shattering divine tool not only in Howren, but also in the depths of the Starry River. On the Blood God Island in the Split Yen archipelago, Anwen stood facing the sea, flanked by Anzan Shan and Shuiyin, the master of the Blood God Island. Standing on a reef in front of him, Anzicheng rested her chin on her hands and gazed quietly in the direction of Heaven's Span Island. The entire Blood God Island was enveloped in a hazy blood-colored aura. From afar, it looked like billions of streaks of blood-colored light were flashing across the sky. Sect Master, everyone on the tranquil continent, except for our blood god, has admitted defeat, Shuiyin said worriedly. The Juling School, the Guifu School, and the Tool sect have also set an example. As one of the founding patriarchs, Anzan Shan remained silent, waiting for Anwen to make a decision. The blood god still had a chance to choose his side. "There's nothing to say," Anwen said with a smile. "The Juling school and the Guifu school killed those who went to the Fiend Demon sect's trial, and then said that they didn't know anything about it. Do I have to follow their example and kill my own daughter? Ridiculous." Both Shui Yin and Anzan Shan didn't seem surprised in the slightest, as if they had known this would happen. The Shenhun sect has been planning for 10,000 years, and President Li is a genius. Now that he's returned, how could he fail so easily? Anwen said with a bright smile. Plus, my dear friend from the Land of Terror will soon come out of seclusion as a ghost god. As for the battle in the Starry River, if any of the three great sects, the Devil's Palace, and the Goblin Temple die, the one who will advance to the nascent divinity realm first will definitely be Zuan from the heaven-reaching peak. I firmly believe that the battle in the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moons is only the beginning. It's far from over. This will be a long war. It won't be 1 or 2 battles, 1 year, or even 10 years. Not only will this war engulf Hauran, but it will also spread to all the races in the Starry River. Upon hearing these words, Anzan Shan, Shui Yin, and Enziching felt their blood boil. Whether or not our sect can challenge the Devil's Palace and the Goblin Temple will depend on the result of this war. Swish! Anwen turned into a streak of blood-colored light and shot out of the Blood God Island. Without relying on teleportation portals, he flew directly towards the Qianxian continent. On Heaven's Span Island, Fengzhong, who was at the peak of the Yang God realm and had grown a goatee, stood under the eaves of the palace on the island and watched the streak of blood-colored light fly off into the distance. Zheng Luanjie and Qi Lingyu, who were also guarding the island, stood in another corner of the palace and watched the streak of blood-colored light fly off into the distance. Chaos is about to break out. Fengzhong shook his head and let out a low sigh. The Split Yen Islands will be peaceful in the near future. All eyes will be on the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moons. Powerful experts from the 3 continents will also swarm there. As the leader of the Wind Whispers, it's my responsibility to gather information. I'll go take a look. Unlike Anwen, who had gone to the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moons in an ostentatious manner, he had gone to Spider City in the Abandoned Lands through teleportation portals. There are teleportation portals available, and it's not like I forbade you from using them. Why do you have to go through so much trouble? Fengzhong muttered to himself. P.S. I've posted 2 chapters in a row today. Chapter 942. In the outer realms of the Starry River, pieces of shattered land floated in the whirlpool-like dark realm. This was the demon abyss of calamity. One of the pieces of land was about the same size as the desolate land, and there was a black lake on its surface that was as smooth as a mirror. Looking down through the lake, one could see many Esper abilities surging, causing waves of spatial turbulence. That was the entrance to the Forbidden Land of the Fallen Moons. Many Azura clansmen stood by the edge of the lake, dressed in all kinds of armor and holding sharp blades. Whoosh! One heavenly devil soul after another rose from the smooth lake, screeching as the Azura clansmen cut them to pieces with their sharp blades. The corpses of many dark spirits, star spirits, silver scales, black scales, and demonesses could be seen floating in the whirlpool or on different pieces of land. A tall golden Azura stood on a smaller piece of land above the realm passage. The golden Azura, who looked like he was made of molten metal, was much taller than the dragons, demons, and colossal beasts, but he was still dozens of meters tall. He stood on a golden war chariot, his eyes cold. He watched as the Een Corpse King gathered the corpses of dark spirits, demonesses, silver scales, and star spirits in the demon abyss of calamity. Ming Kuan, who had transformed into a star behemoth, stood on the flagpole of the golden war chariot in his human form. Don't be so stingy. These are just some 7th and 8th grade corpses. I'll refine some corpses for my servant to play with. Ming Kuan smiled mischievously as he talked to the golden Azura. Is my son really dead? The golden Azura asked with a pained expression. Yes. The place where he died is called the Desolate Land or something. Ming Kuan nodded. You have 3 sons. The one who died in Howran wasn't the most outstanding one. Why are you so sad? The golden Azura in front of him was the current high chieftain of the Azura race. The golden Azura's battle prowess was equal to that of a nascent divinity cultivator or a demon god. Even Ming Kuan didn't dare to say that he could definitely defeat this golden Azura, so he had some respect for him. Ming Kuan stepped into the demonic abyss of calamity and glanced at the battlefield that had ended. He immediately knew that this golden Azura, the blood demon patriarch, and a few other foreign race experts who were unwilling to see the Shenhun sect and the other races form an alliance had massacred the demonic abyss of calamity and destroyed the realm passage. The blood demon race's high chieftain and the outsider experts who had participated in the battle left first. The Shura of Gojoseon in front of him continued to lead the clan to guard the demonic abyss of calamity. They didn't want the god kings of the Shenhun sect to come here with Yen Qiling to repair the realm passage and ruin their plans. The one who died in Howran was my most beloved son. His personality was the most like mine. The Shura of Gojoseon's eyes were filled with grief. The hatred in my heart can only be vented if all the human sects and monsters in Howran are destroyed. I know that you've been imprisoned in Howran for many years. You definitely won't side with them. Ming Kuan nodded slightly. Just like you, I hope that Howran is as chaotic as possible. You also miss them? The Shura of Gojoseon stilled. Yes, I also want to see their civil war break out. Ming Kuan grinned. The human race has ruled the universe for a very long time. Only when the Shenhun sect, the 3 great sects, the Devil's Palace, and the Goblin Temple fight each other, and both sides suffer great losses, the races of the outer realms will be reshuffled. Since our goal is the same, you can do whatever you want with those corpses, the Shura of Gojoseon replied. Ming Kuan chuckled. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly sensed strange movements from the realm passage below. That kid's life altar has delicious food to enjoy. Not bad, not bad. On the dragon-slaying platform, Tian-tsang and Canli were the first to arrive. Then, Beirut, Mia, Quero, and the other 9th grade outsider experts, whose eyes had dimmed slightly, arrived one after another. After arriving, they first laid their eyes on the golden mountain peak that wasn't far from here. They saw the ancient god of Golden Mammoth, the Silver Wolf King, the Peacock King, Long Jie, the Devil's Palace, the Red Devil School, and other experts who had arrived later. Quero let out a cold harumph. Almost all of them are here. Release your blood essence from your bodies, Canli urged. In the next moment, drops of blood essence that were as dazzling as stars, wreathed in wood power, soul realms, or volcanic flesh auras flew out of the 9th grade outsider experts' bodies one after another, releasing dazzling light. Many powerful experts fixed their eyes on Yu Yuan. Still in a daze, Yu Yuan, who was cleansing his soul with the residual power of the Dragon Slayer, caught a whiff of the sweet scent of 9th grade blood essence. His shoulders shuddered slightly. Then, a crimson altar that looked like a fiery crystal flew out of his chest and into his flesh aura world. The life altar spun quietly, and a strong gravitational force was born. Since he hadn't done anything to restrain it, the drops of 9th grade blood essence flew towards the life altar one after another. It's indeed an unusual life altar. Mia clicked her tongue in wonder. This kid isn't a hybrid, but he has a life altar. This is amazing. If it's not naturally formed, how was it forged? Quero asked curiously. A primal chaos koan, a star behemoth, Tian-tsang answered. Upon hearing that Yu Yuan's life altar had been forged by the primal Chaos Kuan, all of the outsider experts present instantly fell silent with shocked expressions on their faces. They chewed on the words primal Chaos Kuan in their minds and fell into deep thought. Standing in the baleful demon cauldron, Yu Yi floated over Yu Yuan's head, watching the numerous outsider experts contribute their blood essences under Tian Tsang's lead. Her face was filled with astonishment. She had thought that Tian Tsang would instigate the outsider experts to kill Yu Yuan in exasperation. It was clearly Yu Yuan who had entered the 3 dragon-slaying platforms and absorbed the residual power of their original owners with the Great Een Soul spell, which had repelled Tian Tsang and prevented him from gathering dragon essence with the Blue Devil's tears. It wasn't long before the life altar that had flown out of Yu Yuan's body absorbed the drops of 9th-grade blood essence. The crimson, translucent altar flew back into Yu Yuan's acupoints and disappeared. However, Yu Yuan's body didn't show any signs of abnormalities. Everyone fixed their gazes on him, as if they were waiting for something. Quiro couldn't help but ask, "Can his life altar handle the 9th-grade blood essence that came from us in one go?" His life altar wasn't born with it. It was forged by the primal Chaos Kuan. It can't be perfectly compatible with him, can it? No one could answer his question. Those who didn't possess the mysteries of the life altar wouldn't be able to know what was inside. Different life altars had different attributes, and the difference was like heaven and earth. Even Canley couldn't give an answer. Boom! Dazzling light suddenly sputtered from the cyan-black magical energy ward in the direction of the Scarlet Sun Empire, as if something heavy had crashed into it. "It's here." Tian Tsang, Bei Lu, Shi Quan, and Luo Yu, who were standing near the teleportation portal, sensed the commotion at the first moment. Their expressions flickered as they fixed their gazes in that direction. Those with keen eyes could see that 7 majestic palaces were crashing down one after another, like the heavens of gods. The 7 majestic palaces were bathed in endless divine light. Thousands of spiritual spell formations on the stone walls were activated and unleashed heaven-destroying, earth-extinguishing power. 7 heaven palace seals. Shi Quan, who practiced the withering sword, took a deep breath and said with a grim expression, "Xuantianzong has really invested a lot in this." All 7 heavenly palace seals were brought out. "Are you not afraid that someone will raid your nest?" Luo Yu sighed softly. Now that Xuantianzong has made such a big move, the Primal Yang sect and the Sword sect must have made a big move as well. Boom, boom, boom. As if in response to the 7 palaces, the towering golden mountain, that ancient god golden elephant, had refined transformed into a giant golden awl and pierced towards them. "Starting today, I'll make sure to write a chapter every day for 3 or 4 days. Please forgive me. Due to the epidemic, this is the first time I've traveled outside for 3 or 4 days." Chapter 943. The 7 palaces were bathed in endless divine light, as if they were the kingdoms of gods that had descended upon the mortal world. Boom, boom. Every time the palaces sank, dazzling devilish light sputtered out of the dark green ward created by the heaven-sealing soul-transforming formation. Clusters of complicated, profound devilish patterns instantly appeared on the ward's surface. Countless ancient devilish symbols and characters, which seemed to be in harmony with the magical laws of Tao, burst forth with unimaginable might. Whoosh, whoosh. Like heavenly dragons, cyan and black lightning bolts formed a grand spell formation on the ward's surface and swam about in a mighty manner. Every time the palaces transformed from the heaven palace seals fell with a loud rumble, they would be thrown into the air by the ward's bouncing force, as if boulders had been smashed into a net of springs. Powerful Xuantianzong experts resided in each of the 7 palaces. Some were at the Carefree realm, some were at the Yang God realm, and most of them were at the Soul Wander realm. Xuantianzong cultivators were stationed in each of the 7 palaces, but they didn't unleash their powerful spiritual tools. Instead, they simply held down the fort with the Heaven Palace seals. Chao Jiazi floated in the air above the palaces by himself, his face grim. There were many powerful experts in Xuantianzong this time, including carefree realm cultivators. Many of them had higher cultivation bases and seniority than he did. However, Chao Jiazi was the one who gave the orders. All of the Xuantianzong disciples, elders, and guest elders were at his beck and call. Even though he had failed in the battle in the Land of Terror, he hadn't lost the sectmaster's trust. He had long since proven his abilities in various aspects. With his new Yang God cultivation base, he derived enlightenment from the fluctuations created by the 7 Heaven Palace seals crashing into the ward below him. Every time a cluster of devilish patterns appeared in the dark green ward, they would instantly become a part of his memory. The wonders of the ancient devilish symbols resonated with the magical laws of heaven and earth. He was secretly trying to grasp their wonders. He knew that the sectmaster still trusted him, and wouldn't doubt his abilities just because of his failure in the Land of Terror. However, there were many factions in Xuantianzong, and many of them were dissatisfied with him, and didn't want him to succeed the position of sectmaster. Those people had already begun to talk about the failure of the Realm of Terror. If the invasion of the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moons went awry again, his status in Xuantianzong would definitely be affected. I hope that brat Yu Yuan won't surprise me again. Tian Tsang is also here. Because of the Blue Devil's tear that I lost, I'll have to get it back. Chao Jiazi thought to himself. Meanwhile, Fan Heqing and Ji Ningxuang of the Sword Sect, Feng Pu, Mo Baichuan, and Tang Zheng of the Primal Yang Sect, and the Sectmaster of the Spirit Void Sect also stopped in midair and stared at the ward. Everyone knew that the sealing heaven soul dissolving formation could not be underestimated, and they also knew that it could not be broken so easily. They were also pondering the mysteries of this formation, trying to see if they could comprehend some of its mysteries and find a more efficient way to break it. On the other end, they also saw the damage that ancient god Golden Elephant's Golden Mountain had done to the array. After a while, 7 majestic palaces floated in the air one after another and scattered around Chao Jiazi. Because of this, the turbulent greenish-black barrier also regained its calm. The soul of the soul-dissolving pool has awakened. Fan Heqing of the Sword Sect frowned. This heaven-sealing soul-dispersing formation is very close to the 7th grade. This time, we need to destroy the soul-dissolving pool as much as possible. We can't leave any loose ends behind. Also, we need to find a way to destroy the interrealm tunnel. Chao Jiazi nodded with a smile. After this clash, I'm sure all of the outsider crooks in the Forbidden Land have realized our sincerity. What I'm curious about is whether any conflicts have broken out between the outsiders and those who have entered the Forbidden Land. Feng Pu went blank. Are you saying? I'd like to see internal strife. Chao Jiazi paused for a moment before continuing. I don't believe that their alliance is strong enough. If they fight among themselves in the Forbidden Land, our purge after breaking the ward will be much smoother. Many of the great cultivators nodded with approval in their eyes. They had also thought of the same thing, and believed that the devils in the Forbidden Area and the Starry River might not be able to unite with humans like Yu Yuan, Luo Yu, and Shi Quan against a common enemy. At the dragon-slaying platform, seeing that ancient god Golden Elephant's Golden Mountain had crashed into the heaven-sealing soul-dissipating formation 7 times with its sharp peak, the crowd felt slightly more at ease. The Shenhun Sect's grand formation is quite impressive. Canli of the Radiant Light race had just noticed that every time the Golden Mountains crashed into the barrier, hundreds of demonic rune arrays of various sizes would appear and nullify the golden power that was strong enough to force even Freedom Realm cultivators to use their full power. The humans have replaced us as the strongest race in the universe. Of course they have their own strength. A mocking smile appeared at the corner of Tian Song's mouth. Those old bastards only wanted to get rid of the annoying dragons. They never thought that they would create an even stronger human instead. The moment he mentioned this, the expressions of the rank 9 bloodline warriors present turned ugly. Clearly, they knew some ancient secrets to a certain extent. Whoosh! A wide, black demonic saber suddenly appeared outside the ward. Mo Yen stood on the demonic saber in the form of a middle-aged man. He swung the saber left and right in a domineering and arrogant manner. Who is he? I don't know why, but I felt disgusted from the first time I saw him. Caro of the Silver Scale Race's expression darkened. That's the Kiara demonic saber. Beirut of the Star Race snorted softly. The Kiara demonic saber? Then he must be Zhu Zhenying's son, Mo Yen? Mia of the Dark Spirit Race's expression changed slightly. Didn't I hear that he was severely injured in the Land of Terror not long ago? It didn't take long for him to recover all of his strength. He's now in the Middle Soul Wander realm. Tian Tsang grinned. Since you all know that he's Zhu Zhenying's son and cultivates the reincarnation demonic art, which steals the fortunes of heaven and earth, then with Zhu Zhenying's own strength and the Devil's Palace's resources, it'll be a piece of cake for him to bring his only son back to life, as long as he's not completely dead. The moment he mentioned Zhu Zhenying, the second in command of the Devil's Palace, the expressions of many of the outsider experts present turned ugly. Zhu Zhenying's reputation in the outer realms was much worse than Devil Master Tan Xiaotian's. He was an expert in outnumbering others, and he was an expert in strategizing. Many high-ranking outsider warriors had died at his hands. Moreover, Zhu Zhenying was known for his ruthlessness. Many of the weaker races and realms that Zhu Zhenying had passed through had been wiped out. Since the one who came is Zhu Zhenying's son, then the forces the Devil's Palace has placed in the forbidden land of the fallen moons must be on Zhu Zhenying's side. Canli of the Radiant Race looked up into the dark sky and said, "If I'm not mistaken, those close to Devil Master Tan Xiaotian and the Devil Master himself should be in the outer realms of the Starry River right now." Everyone nodded inwardly upon hearing these words. Other than Mo Yen, all of the guests from the Devil's Palace were hidden behind layers of demonic shadows. Their true appearances couldn't be seen. However, given the outsider experts' knowledge of the Devil's Palace, they could roughly guess who they were. Enormous dragons appeared in their true forms and surrounded the old High Chieftain, Long Jie, while letting out deep roars. There are also people from the Juling School and the Guifu School. Canli's eyes suddenly blossomed with dazzling light. Not only did her gaze penetrate the ward, but it also shone on the back of the group. She recognized the two groups of cultivators that had been excluded from the main group. They were the two groups that had arranged for their elites to go to the Fiend Demon Sect's mountain range to participate in the trade fair. The Juling School and the Guifu School must have given in to the Devil's Palace and the Goblin Temple, Beirut said with a disdainful expression. The corner of Beirut's mouth twitched as he said disdainfully, "Perhaps he even killed those who participated in the trade fair to cut ties with the sect." Many outsider experts nodded slightly, as if they had guessed as much. Whoosh! Whoosh! Sitting on the dragon beheading platform, Yu Yuan suddenly exhaled deeply. Every breath he exhaled was extremely turbid, as if he were clearing out the impurities that had accumulated in his body due to his rapid breakthrough. Fizz! Fizz! The pores all over his body were also overflowing with a faint light. Tian Tsang, who was in charge of the blood spirit altar, narrowed his eyes and took a look. He couldn't help but let out a soft exclamation. "He's refining the drops of blood essence you gave him, and removing the impurities that can't fuse with his body and soul. I can't believe this kid actually managed to withstand so much 9th-grade blood essence." As he spoke, the blood spirit altar that had been embedded in his forehead quietly emerged. The turbid demon fetus at the bottom of the altar morphed into a blue shadow that enveloped Yu Yuan like a blue shield of light. I can't waste the impurities he removed from his body. I have use for them. Tian Tsang's eyes lit up as a smile blossomed on his face. But in just a moment, his smile froze and he cursed angrily, "Damn it!" Chapter 944. At this moment, wisps of multicolored light were being channeled into the life altar inside of Yu Yuan, which was enveloped in the murky demon fetus. The blue shadow that carried the blood spirit altar was the dregs that couldn't be completely dissolved when the blood spirit altar and the soul altar were purifying their fleshly bodies. There were all kinds of dregs in the starry river, corpses of spirit beasts, unknown refined iron, deadly toxins that could corrode flesh, and filthy tools. However, there was also a part of them that couldn't be refined. At this moment, the life altar in Yu Yuan's body was pulling away some of the special power contained in the turbid demonic fetus, which was related to her flesh aura. Yu Yuan himself went to absorb the impurities from the blood essence of the few ninth-grade outsider experts. While the blood essence was being devoured by the demonic embryo, he also channeled the power he needed from it. Tian Tsang had wanted to take advantage of Yu Yuan, but he hadn't expected that he would be caught in his own trap and lose a lot of power from the turbid demon fetus. Then, with a pained look on his face, he decided to withdraw the turbid devil fetus from Yu Yuan. After all, the chaotic, turbulent, and violent energies within the turbid demon fetus were the blood spirit altar's trump card, and one of his sharp blades against his enemies. Lord Yu Qian! Lord Yu Qian! The power in your turbid demon fetus is clearly going to help Yu Yuan grow stronger. Please reconsider, my lord. The eyes of the demon gods, Beirut, Mia, and the other outsider experts lit up as they saw the profound meaning behind Tian Tsang's words. They hurried to persuade him to withdraw the turbid demon fetus. Didn't you and Canley convince everyone to condense a drop of blood essence to help Yu Yuan grow stronger? Didn't you say that the power of the sealing heaven soul transforming formation had a lot to do with Yu Yuan? Didn't you say that Yu Yuan was the key to the fallen moon's survival? If that's the case, why didn't you agree to let the turbid demon fetus drain some of its power to help Yu Yuan grow stronger and stabilize his cultivation base? The same expression could be seen in the eyes and faces of all the non-humankind leaders. Tian Tsang didn't even need to look at them to know what they were thinking from their tone. Go for wool and come home shorn, forget it, forget it. Tian Tsang groaned inwardly. His fierce and anxious eyes stared at Yu Yi in the fiendish demon cauldron. He thought that if she hadn't brought Yu Yuan here, the dragon beheading platform wouldn't have been exposed, and there wouldn't have been so many accidents. He could have stayed out of this and intercepted the space-time dragon's supernatural ability on the dragon beheading platform to help him reach a level where he could challenge Whitebone. Even if the sealing heaven soul dissolving formation was broken, as the Ghost King of the Land of Terror, he could use the Ghost King's unique escape technique to reach the Nether River corresponding to him. In fact, he didn't care how many people died, or whether the Shunhun sect and President Li's plan would fail. However, now, under the gazes of so many people, he had no choice but to bite the bullet and let the life altar inside of Yu Yuan intercept the power that could help Yu Yuan improve his strength from his turbid demon fetus. Beirut of the Star Spirits exclaimed, his eyes lighting up. Yu Yuan's clothes had long since been torn to shreds. Stars that were the size of little fingers seemed to be shining on his muscular, naked body. Each and every one of them was shining with crimson, blue, green, and black light. Those are acupoints. One by one, they're opened acupoints. There are many acupoints in a human's body. The Golden Hall Small World, the Flesh Aura Small World, and the Sea of Consciousness Small World are all acupoints. Caro, the leader of the Silver Scales, was shocked by what he saw. However, Most human cultivators can only open those 3 acupoints in their entire lives. Mia was also shocked. This kid is opening new acupoints with the help of the life altar and our blood essence. No, that can't be right. There are already fully opened acupoints in his chest. I can sense the aura of Ean's sunflower essence in them, and they seem to be able to contain souls and flesh power. He's opening more acupoints with the power of our turbid demon fetus and the turbid demon fetus. Beirut took a deep breath, his expression growing grim. I know a little about the fiend body tempering incantation. This incantation can open additional acupoints for fiend demons to live in and use their power to fight. It's just that. Confusion filled Beirut's eyes as he said, I remember that even the former sect master of the fiend demon sect failed to open all of the acupoints in a human's body. Also, the late sect master of the fiend demon sect could only store fiend demons in his acupoints. He couldn't gather all of the other soul spirits and flesh auras in his acupoint. He had lived for many years. He had seen many talents of the human race and lived through many eras. He had come into contact with the fiend demon sect, which had flourished in the Starry River for a while, and had gained a deep understanding of the fiend body tempering incantation. However, the fiend body tempering incantation he knew was completely different from the changes Yu Yuan's body had undergone after using it. It's that life altar that has allowed his fiend body tempering incantation to undergo a miraculous transformation. Through the turbid demon fetus, Tian Tsang could sense the subtle changes in Yu Yuan's body. He could even see the power pouring out of Yu Yuan's flesh aura and flowing into that acupoint. The strength of his body has already surpassed that of a soul wander realm cultivator. We can't treat him like a normal human cultivator. We can treat him as a high-tier outsider warrior who hasn't awakened any bloodline talents. Perhaps he's even higher than the 7th grade. With these words, Tian Tsang turned to look at Qiluo, the silver scale man who was known for his strong body and excellent fighting skills. Don't tell me he's as strong as an 8th grade warrior of my race? Qiluo's face was filled with disbelief. An 8th grade warrior of my race is as strong as a young god cultivator. He's only just entered the soul wander realm, and hasn't even stabilized his cultivation base yet. What makes you think he can? Qiluo didn't finish his sentence. That was because he discovered that whether it was Beirut, Mia, or Canli, they all seemed to believe Tian Tsang's words. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Gradually, the auras that came out of Yu Yuan's mouth and pores were no longer mixed with the unusual chaotic power they were exuding. He also stopped channeling flesh aura from the depths of Tian Tsang's turbid demon fetus. Instead, he withdrew all of his flesh aura, spiritual power, and soul awareness. All of a sudden, Yu Yuan seemed to fall completely silent. My master has already stabilized his cultivation base. Thank you for all the blood essence you've given him. When he opens his eyes again, he'll do everything in his power to fend off the invaders from outside the Forbidden Land. Like a fairy, Yui floated in the middle of the baleful demon cauldron and spoke in a voice that was as calm as still water. Only after she spoke did the numerous outsider experts seem to realize her existence, and turn to look at her. I can sense something. Facing everyone's gazes, she said in a neither haughty nor humble tone, Trust me, my master can improve his battle prowess to a level that far surpasses his cultivation base in the forbidden land of the fallen moons. To put it bluntly, the battle prowess he can wield here is even greater than that of a Dao integration expert. When a Dao integration expert entered the Dao integration realm, their cultivation base would rise by a whole level. This was a universally acknowledged law. In the Heaven Advent mountain range, Zuan had been able to contend against nascent divinity realm experts as a Dao integration expert. In the Desolation Forsaken Lands, Yu Zhu had been able to contend against Dao integration experts as an 8th-level demon. Now, Yue was saying that Yu Yuan could wield battle prowess even greater than that of a Dao integration expert in a forbidden land. What did that mean? If Yu Yuan truly possessed Yang God realm battle prowess, could he have jumped 2 levels in a row and fought nascent divinity realm experts in the forbidden land of the fallen moons? How was that even possible? Many outsiders looked at each other in dismay. None of them believed her. Even Canli, who was very curious about Yu Yuan, and Tianzong, who knew about the existence of the dragon beheading platform, didn't believe Yui's words. If that's true, then we might be able to solve the problem in this forbidden land. All of a sudden, Wen Lu, who was a hybrid of a dark spirit and a human, said in a very low voice. Mia had been worried that she would be attacked by some outsider warriors with extreme temperaments, so she had taken her to her side and looked after her. However, since she wasn't qualified to participate in this meeting, Mia had left her far away. Even so, she had witnessed Yu Yuan's transformation and heard everyone's conversation. That was why she had said such a thing. Master was right to save you. Chapter 945. The first peak of Howran, heaven-reaching peak. In the north of the mountain range, 1,000-foot-tall Dharma form sat quietly in the air with a long sword on its back. Tens of thousands of strands of sword intent surrounded him, creating a scene of all things being destroyed and all living beings dying. One could vaguely see the lightning formed by the rules of great Tao interweaving behind it, forming a grotesque world. On the top of heaven-reaching peak, Zuan was holding the sky observing mirror. He was dressed in white and had a simple face with a feather crown on his head. He looked like an ancient cultivator from a distant era. He had the demeanor of an immortal and was surrounded by spiritual mist. Sword of Destruction, Du Yuan. Zuan frowned slightly and moved his lips. A thought traveled thousands of miles and was sent out of the heaven-reaching mountain range. Senior Zuan, I'm here on the orders of the sect master. As long as you don't leave heaven-reaching mountain range, I won't use my sword. The 1,000-foot-tall Dharma form cupped its fists in the air and spoke sincerely. However, there was a hidden madness in its eyes, which was somewhat similar to Qi Yunhong's. However, Qi Yunhong's madness was only on the surface and was not concealed. This great sword celestial called Du Yuan had concealed himself extremely deeply. Only a very small number of people who were familiar with him and had interacted with him before knew that he would only reveal his deranged side in battle or when he faced an opponent of sufficient strength. However, in such a vast world, the number of people who could be his opponent was truly not many. Sword of Destruction Du Yuan was the third-ranked great sword immortal of the sword sect. He was at the peak of the late-stage carefree realm, and was only second to the 2 primordial soul great sword immortals of the sword sect. Zuan also felt a headache when he saw him. He had to give up on the idea of leaving heaven-reaching peak. As the most senior enlightened realm cultivator in the vast expanse of heaven and earth, and having reached the heaven ascension peak, as long as he didn't leave the heaven ascension mountain range, he would be able to hold his own against the 2 from the sword sect, let alone Du Yuanlai. He wouldn't be restrained at every turn. He knew very well that Du Yuan would not set foot in heaven-reaching mountain range and fight in his territory. Even if he left heaven-reaching mountain range, he was confident that he could defeat Du Yuan. However, Du Yuan was a person who liked to trade his life for his opponent. He didn't care about his own life at all. As long as he felt that there was no hope of victory, he would use the extreme method of taking his opponent down with him. Zuan knew in his heart that he might be able to kill Du Yuan if he stepped out of heaven-reaching peak, but he would definitely be seriously injured. This wasn't the result he wanted. He was worried that other than Du Yuan, the master of the Primal Yang sect was also working with him. I'm at heaven-reaching peak. If I can restrain you, Du Yuan or one more person can be considered to have contributed. Zuan snorted. With Senior's talent and strength, I alone am naturally not qualified to keep senior here. Du Yuan smiled faintly, indirectly admitting that he was not the only Mahasvara realm cultivator who had rushed here. When he said that, Zuan simply closed his eyes and used his mind to wander through the heavenly treasured mirror. He just watched from the sidelines. In the barren abandoned land, there was an island in the middle of a lake near Yu Town. Suzishi, the Python Queen, had just given Yushu some instructions under the orders of the Goblin Temple when her mind suddenly shuddered. In the air above the island at the center of the lake that was enveloped by the nether flame poison stream formation, a scarlet band of light that was like blood suddenly appeared. It floated like a river of blood, and it illuminated her charming and moving face with a terrifying scarlet color. Suzishi secretly sensed the aura of the blood-colored river, and then coughed up a mouthful of blood. Her face, which was illuminated by the blood-colored river, was now somewhat pale, making her look even more bizarre. Sect Master of the Blood God. Shocked, Suzishi subconsciously wanted to ask for help. She wanted to send a message to the Goblin Temple and contact the nearby greater demons. However, she discovered that the space within dozens of kilometers of the island in the middle of the lake had been flooded with blood-colored light. At this moment, she felt as if she was wandering in a sticky, blood-colored sea and couldn't break free at all. Not to mention sending a message to warn her. Even further down, the blood-colored sea devoured everything, and her consciousness blurred. At the center of the island, even though Yutu was wearing a luxurious long dress that was full of wrinkles, she still looked dark, skinny, and short. However, her pair of emerald eyes were incomparably bright, shining with a bright light that ordinary people didn't dare to look straight into. Standing on the island, she looked through the miasma and poisonous smoke to meet Anwen's eyes, which were floating in the blood-colored river. There was no fear on her face. In the blood-colored river, Anwen's eyes were like two blood-red suns as he stared quietly at her, exchanging countless soul messages with her in a single breath. After a while, Anwen chuckled softly in the blood-colored river. Boom! The corpse of an enormous, eight-legged, emerald-green spider flew out of the blood-colored river and was thrown towards the island in the middle of the lake. She didn't die at my hands, Anwen explained as the emerald-green spider, which was several times larger than the one on the island in the middle of the lake. Immediately afterwards, the blood-colored river flew away, giving rise to a loud whoosh. Upon seeing the eight-legged, emerald-green spider on the island, Yu Zhu's blood boiled. Every cell in her body seemed to be cheering, as if they were yearning for the bloodline imprints left in the spider's body. Whoosh! Whoosh! Streaks of emerald-green light shot into the sky and flew into the spider's corpse, causing the mountain-like spider to shrink rapidly. Eventually, the spider shrunk to 10 times its original size, broke through the netherflame poison stream formation, and landed in front of Yu Zhu. The island in the middle of the lake shook violently, causing huge waves to rise on the calm lake water. On the dragon beheading platform in the forbidden area, Yu Yuan slowly woke up, feeling as if he had just woken up from a dream. He had seen many strange scenes in his dream, but as soon as he opened his eyes, he forgot all about them. His eyes were filled with confusion. Without a doubt, he had successfully entered the soul wander stage. With a single thought, his nether soul would be able to rush out of his sea of awareness and travel to the outside world without any hindrance. It was just that his memories stopped at the tiny golden dragons he had absorbed from the golden dragon's corpse with the grand Een Soul incantation. He had no recollection of how his nether soul had merged with his true form, how he had devoured the 9th-grade blood essence, or how his true form had merged with his true form. The moment he woke up, he learned what had happened through his soul connection with Yue. His nether soul had returned to its original position, his cultivation had stabilized, and he had opened his acupoints with the help of his blood essence and the foreign blood power within the turbid demon fetus. Cough. He coughed softly, and discovered that all of the outsider experts were staring at him as if he were a monster. The next round of attacks from the three great sects, the Devil's Palace and the Goblin Temple, will definitely be much fiercer. This grand formation won't be able to withstand the repeated attacks of those Freedom Realm experts and ninth-grade demons. Before he could finish, he let out a soft exclamation. For some reason, an inexplicable sense of confidence suddenly surged into his heart. It was as if a voice was telling him that if this unprecedented heaven-sealing soul-dispersing formation could unleash its true power, even if a nascent soul realm expert or a single nascent soul realm expert came, they wouldn't be able to break it. I overturn what I said just now. For some reason, he reorganized his words. This formation may change in the future. If the five great forces don't send nascent soul experts, it won't be so easy to break this formation. As he finished speaking, he suddenly stood up. He didn't purposely use any power or try to intimidate anyone. Just as he stood up, the soul-dispersing pool in the distance floated towards him. At the same time, rumbling sounds came from the depths of the earth beneath his feet. Roar! Outside the greenish-black barrier, the giant dragons led by Long Jie roared hysterically. Ancient God Golden Elephant, Grey Wolf King, Peacock King, and Mo Yen. When Yu Yuan looked at the giant dragons, he also saw Mo Yen of the Devil's Palace. He was both surprised and surprised. Enemies really do cross paths. Whoosh! He suddenly landed on the fiendish demon cauldron. When Yu shrank into the small world inside the cauldron, the black cauldron flew towards the greenish-black barrier. It was only a step away from the entrance of the trial. Then, he left the fiendish demon cauldron and entered the greenish-black barrier alone. Outside the barrier, at the entrance of the trial, the Devil's Palace, the people of the Goblin Temple, and the cultivators of the tranquil continent who had been unable to see anything suddenly saw Yu Yuan's figure in the depths of the greenish-black abyss. Yu Yuan. Chapter 946. Yu Yuan. At the entrance of the Forbidden Land, the evil spirits of the tranquil continent all shouted softly. Due to the existence of the sealing heaven soul dispersing formation, they couldn't see through the greenish-black barrier and see what was going on inside. However, the experts of other races like Tiansong, Canli, and Beirut could see them inside the Forbidden Land. They couldn't see inside, so they didn't know what was going on inside. Yu Yuan was the only living being they had seen at the entrance of the trial so far. Furthermore, many of them were very familiar with Yu Yuan. As such, they were even more astonished. Yu Yuan's figure gradually became clearer inside the greenish-black barrier filled with surging devil energy. Because of Yu Yuan's appearance, countless greenish-black devil energy changed unpredictably, arranged, and organized into clusters and pieces of magical formations. With a single glance, many powerful cultivators could tell that there were hundreds of complicated and profound spell formations scattered around Yu Yuan, protecting her with the highest level of protection. Crack! Fizz fizz! Suddenly, dazzling dots of light bloomed in front of Yu Yuan's face like fireworks and sputtered outwards like rain. Many of them secretly used their soul thoughts and abilities to try and break the barrier and kill Yu Yuan instantly. However, they only let out muffled groans and suffered a small loss. "Don't make a fool of yourself!" Ancient God Golden Elephant roared angrily. After the roar, there were no more great demons or tranquil continent cultivators who secretly made a move. Oh! The giant dragons led by Long Jie lowered their heads and let out strange dragon roars. They swayed their enormous tails and slowly retreated after Yu Yuan appeared. Long Jie, who had been pardoned by the Sword Sect and received the promises of the three high sects, Devil's Palace and Goblin Temple, led his race to the forefront and stood side by side with Ancient God Golden Elephant, the Grey Wolf King, and the Peacock King. The dragons wanted to perform well and be the first to charge into the Forbidden Land and bite the experts of other races like Beirut. However, because of Yu Yuan's sudden appearance, their bloodline trembled and they began to retreat uneasily. The unusual behavior of the dragon clan instantly alarmed everyone. Gazes of doubt, suspicion, and dissatisfaction immediately fell on the bodies of the giant dragons. As the leader, Long Jie tried to raise his head and face the figure inside the greenish-black barrier unyieldingly. However, the restrictions of bloodline and laws prevented him from smoothly completing the simple act of raising his head. He kept his head bowed and kept retreating. When he had retreated to a suitable distance, Long Jie was finally able to raise his head in humiliation. However, he still didn't dare to look directly at Yu Yuan's figure. He could only explain to ancient god Golden Elephant and Devil's Palace, "This kid has the aura of the dragon beheading platform." The dragon beheading platform. The expressions of the 3 rank 9 great demons of the Goblin Temple, and the 2 Freedom Realm cultivators standing on the heads of the deep-sea giant winged lizards changed slightly. Thoughtful expressions appeared on their faces. The deep-sea giant winged lizards that came from outer space were originally rank 9 fierce beasts. Rumor had it that they had the bloodline of the giant abyss lizards of the star behemoths. They had been killed by Zhu Zhen of Devil's Palace many years ago and refined into a strange ship for Devil's Palace to use. The 300-meter-long deep-sea giant winged lizards protruded from their backs. Many pavilions were built from rusty refined iron. The enormous wings of the fierce beast were as wide as flat land. They carried many experts of Devil's Palace. The pavilions on their heads and backs were occupied by Freedom Realm and Yang God Realm cultivators. Yao Huangqi, who was in the late stage of the Freedom Realm, and Lu Yi, who was in the early stage of the Freedom Realm, were the leaders of Devil's Palace's expedition. These 2 Freedom Realm cultivators were on Zhu Zhenying's side. They were famous figures in all of Howren and even in outer space. At this moment, they exchanged glances with the 3 rank 9 great demons of the Goblin Temple, telling them not to be in a hurry to attack the forbidden area. Yu Yuan. When they met again, Mo Yen stood on the Kiara demonic blade and smiled brightly. He waved his hand and shouted from afar so that Yu Yuan's gaze would shift to him. It was as if he was in a place of absolute terror and had almost lost his soul. The culprit behind the demonic blade's failure wasn't Yu Yuan in front of him at all. However, those who were familiar with him knew how much Mo Yen, who hid a knife behind his smile, hated Yu Yuan. Otherwise, Mo Yen wouldn't have begged Yao Huangqi and insisted on coming to the forbidden area no matter what. He had come to see how Yu Yuan would die. Yu Yuan. On the Red Devil School's side, the white-robed state preceptor, Zhou Tsangmin, who had returned from outer space, had reached the middle stage of the Yang God Realm. He and Fang Yao, who had also reached the Yang God Realm, stood side by side behind Zhang Guanyu, the great cultivator of the Red Devil School. They stared at the figure in the greenish-black barrier with complicated gazes. Zhou Tsangmin felt as if he had been cut off from the world for a lifetime. The Yu Yuan in front of him was so unfamiliar that he felt as if this was the first time they had met. He still clearly remembered that he had schemed in Ill-Wind Valley and tricked Xuantianzong into giving him a Sky Palace seal. He still remembered that he favored Yu Yuan and protected him openly and secretly several times. Who would have thought that not long after they parted, Yu Yuan would become the most abrupt rising star in this world. Yu Yuan's brilliance faintly dimmed him. Whoosh! The soul pool floated over, surging with greenish-black soul energy. It landed behind Yu Yuan and slowly came to a stop. Within the barrier, Yu Yuan sat down on the edge of the soul pool's platform. The moment he sat down, many of the great cultivators of the Freedom Realm and the Yang God Realm gathered here suddenly had a mysterious feeling that he and the soul pool were one. There was no distinction between them, and they were extremely compatible. It felt as if an ancient divine king had landed on his divine throne. It was so harmonious and natural. He has advanced to the soul wanderer realm. Over at the Devil's Palace, Yao Huangqi stood on the head of the deep-sea giant winged lizard. His eyes seemed to be brewing a dark storm, and the corner of his mouth twitched. From some details, he could see Yu Yuan's true realm. Even his soul consciousness, which could see through sacred gold and divine iron, could not see through the barrier and observe Yu Yuan's small world of consciousness. He could only make a reasonable judgment based on other traces, his knowledge of the soul wanderer realm, and his observation. Soul wanderer realm cultivation and an immeasurably strong physique. His true strength cannot be measured by his realm alone, ancient god Golden Elephant said in his human form, standing on the golden mountain peak. As soon as he said this, many great cultivators of the freedom realm nodded in tacit understanding. They unanimously agreed that Yu Yuan's true strength was far beyond what they could see. The Devil's Palace, the Goblin Temple, the Red Devil School, the Heavenly Heretic Sect, the Juling School, the Voodoo School, the Guifu School. While they were secretly observing Yu Yuan's eyes were also darting back and forth between familiar and unfamiliar faces. There were about 10 carefree realm cultivators and 9th-level demons in total. There were about 30 young god realm cultivators and nearly 100 soul wanderer realm cultivators. The Dragon Clan had 3 level 9 giant dragons and a dozen level 8 giant dragons. The strength they had displayed was enough to wipe out the outsiders in the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moons. Once the Forbidden Land was destroyed, Beilu, Canli, and even Tiansong would have no choice but to flee. They would have no chance of winning. On the other side, the 3 great sects and 7 lesser sects of the Tianyuan continent had even more experts. With 3 times the strength and so many treasures, Yu Yuan felt that Beirut and the other foreign visitors might not even have the chance to escape, let alone win the battle. Once the heaven-sealing soul-dispersing formation was destroyed, they would be attacked from both sides. If there were no accidents, they would definitely lose this battle. Yu Yuan, you have a deep relationship with the Goblin Temple. The Goblin Temple has always approved of you. Ancient god Golden Elephant's expression was indifferent as he slowly tried to persuade him. No matter what you've done in the past, as long as you open the Forbidden Lands barrier now, we'll write off all your past mistakes. On behalf of the Goblin Temple, the Devil's Palace, and the 3 great sects, I can promise you this. We promise that we won't pursue your past. We promise that you can choose any sect you want and cultivate the best Tao incantations. If you're talented enough, Yu Yuan will have a seat in the nascent divinity realm in the future. ***. Thank you for your tolerance. Starting today, I'll be back to normal. Chapter 947. The Goblin Temple's ancient god Golden Elephant made one promise after another in a powerful voice. Those gathered here, such as Mo Yen and Zhong Hao of the Heavenly Evil Sect, who wanted to see Yu Yuan die without a grave, suddenly froze. The Crimson Devil sects Zhou Tsangmin and Fang Yao exchanged a look, their faces filled with astonishment. What was going on? Did the Goblin Temple really value Yu Yuan so much? Even if ancient god Golden Elephant could make decisions on behalf of the Goblin Temple, could he make the Devil's Palace and the 3 great sects approve of his decisions? After all, Yu Yuan was the one who almost destroyed Mo Yan's soul and caused the Kiara demonic blade to be lost in the land of despair not long ago. Many evil lords fell silent because of ancient god Golden Elephant's words. They were all guessing what ancient god Golden Elephant was thinking. However, no one questioned him for a while, because the speaker was the Goblin Temple's ancient god Golden Elephant. Ancient god Golden Elephant had once entered the Demon God Temple and was a level 10 demon god. His seniority and longevity far surpassed the current white heavenly tiger. He had made great contributions to the Goblin Temple, but because he was severely injured, he fell in rank and became a peak level 9 great demon. As long as there was a vacancy, he could compete with Zuan for the new nascent soul and demon god seat. Because of his prestige, the fact that he was once a demon god, and his current status and power, many people who were doubtful and dissatisfied temporarily remained silent. Everyone was waiting for someone else to question him. Forefather Golden Elephant. Riding the Kiara demonic blade, Mo Yen saw that no one interjected. Relying on the fact that he was Zhu Zhenying's son and had the support of the Devil's Palace, he was the first to jump out. Yu Yuan colluded with the evil demons of the outside world and the Shunhun sect. This was proven outside Azure Phoenix City. With a cold face, Mo Yen said, when we were in the Land of Terror, he joined hands with White Bone and Tian Song to ruin our plan to take control of that heaven and earth. Yu Yuan's actions are heinous, and I don't think we can forgive him. The current sect master of the heavenly evil sect, Zhong Hao, nodded in agreement. Many cultivators from the heavenly diabolism sect, the Devil's Palace, and the Goblin Temple also nodded. However, he did not open his mouth to respond to Mo Yen. You think? The humanoid ancient god Golden Elephant stood at the peak of the Golden Mountain, not even turning his head. You don't have the qualifications to represent anyone. When you break through to the Freedom Realm, when you can make decisions for the Devil's Palace, only then will you have the qualifications to speak. These words could be said to be impolite. Mo Yan's face instantly turned ashen. He suddenly looked above the deep-sea giant winged lizard and at the late-stage Freedom Realm cultivator his father regarded as a brother, Yao Huangqi. The tall and thin Yao Huangqi, dressed in a dark yellow robe, said expressionlessly, "This is also your father's intention." The moment these words were said, Mo Yen instantly became listless like a frosted eggplant. Not daring to say another word, Mo Yen controlled the Jialuo demonic blade to retreat from the front of the formation to one of the deep-sea giant winged lizard's giant wings. On the back of the beast, the mysterious demon envoy of the Devil's Palace seemed to glance at him from inside the shrunken silver rainbow demonic shuttle. The king of Wei Ling, Lu Yi, also turned his head and glanced at him with a half-smile. Lord Golden Elephant. The second person to speak was, as expected, Zhong Hao. The territory that used to belong to the heavenly evil sect had been taken over by Yu Yuan and became the new fiend demon sect. A trade fair that included the Howran realm had just been held in the mountains. As the current sect master of the heavenly evil sect, and knowing that Yu Yuan was the descendant of evil King Yu Yuan, how could Zhong Hao allow Yu Yuan to continue to be free and happy? What are you dissatisfied with? Ancient God Golden Elephant did not act carelessly this time. He turned around with a serious expression. Zhong Hao was also a Freedom Realm cultivator and the sect master of the heavenly evil sect. He had a good personal relationship with Zhu Zhenjin and could be ranked among the top in the Tranquil Continent. Ancient God Golden Elephant's attitude and expression toward him were clearly much more serious. Everyone knows what Yu Yuan has done, so I won't go over them one by one. Zhong Hao's brows sank. I only have one question. How many sides truly agree with this matter? He knew that Yu Zhu of the barren abandoned lands was very likely to become the new Yao god of the Goblin Temple. Because Yu Yuan had a special relationship with Yu Zhu and had always been on good terms with the Goblin Temple, an ancient god Golden Elephant's mortal disciple, Zhan Tianxiang, was as close as a brother to Yu Yuan. Ancient god Golden Elephant wanted to absolve Yu Yuan of his crimes and urge him to undo the barrier around the Forbidden Land and return to the side of the Five Supremes. However, Zhong Hao did not think that the three great sects would truly agree with this matter. Therefore, he demanded an answer. How many sides agree? Ancient god Golden Elephant muttered. Then, he nodded and said, Very well, I'll give you an answer. 3 drops of golden essence blood appeared in the golden mountain below his feet. In an instant, the golden blood seemed to be absorbed by a soul and transformed magically. A few seconds later, Chao Jiazi of the Xuantianzong, Fan Heching of the Sword Sect, and Mo Baichuan of the Primal Yang Sect appeared in the form of the 3 drops of golden blood. On behalf of Xuantianzong and the master of my sect, I abide by Lord Golden Elephant's promise. As long as Yu Yuan releases the barrier and allows us to enter, we will let bygones be bygones. Chao Jiazi shouted loudly. Can I represent the Sword Sect? Fan Heching glanced at the many people from the tranquil continent from the Golden Mountain and said indifferently, the Sword Sect and Forefather Golden Elephant have the same attitude. Mo Baichuan of the Primal Yang Sect. In the end, Mo Baichuan only left these words. His figure appeared and disappeared in an instant. He seemed to be too lazy to say another word. He felt that showing his face was enough to express his attitude. There was no need to say more. After these 3 people appeared on the Golden Mountain and expressed their stance, all the evil spirits and great demons of the tranquil continent were in an uproar and then fell silent. Then, they looked at Mo Yen, Zhong Hao, and some people who had a grudge against Yu Yuan with strange gazes. Zhong Hao took a deep breath and controlled his emotions. Then, he nodded and said no more. Ancient God Golden Elephant represented the Goblin Temple. Yao Huangqi was the leader of this trip to the Devil's Palace. Chao Jiazi was that person's favorite junior. Fan Heching was the great sword immortal. Mo Baichuan did not speak easily and never spoke nonsense. These 5 people represented the 5 supreme forces, the strongest forces in Haoran. No matter how dissatisfied Zhong Hao was, he could only remain silent. At this moment, his mentality changed instantly. He no longer thought about how to change the decision of the 5 supreme forces. Instead, he was thinking about what Yu Yuan had done to make the 5 supreme forces overlook all of his rebellious past and be willing to forget everything and accept him again. What kind of charm did this child have? Or could it be that the sealing heaven soul dissolving formation he was compatible with really had the power to decide the outcome? Based on Zhong Hao's understanding of the 5 supreme forces, only Yu Yuan's value was greater than he imagined. That was why the 5 supreme forces could make such concessions. Yu Yuan. In the Forbidden Area, the foreign race experts led by Tian Tsang, Beirut, and Mia, the heavenly demons, and even Shi Quan, who was further away, all heard ancient God Golden Elephant's words. Outside they could not see inside, but they could see and hear what was going on outside. Ancient God Golden Elephant's promise that as long as Yu Yuan broke the sealing heaven soul dissolving formation, he would let bygones be bygones and give all kinds of promises stunned them. At this time, Yu Yuan was actually in the center of the dark green barrier, not in the forbidden area. If they wanted to attack Yu Yuan or do something, they would also need to break the barrier. However, Yu Yuan was sitting on the edge of the soul-dissolving pool, proving that he had absolute control over the array. Beirut and the other foreign race guests were secretly anxious and worried. They also felt like they had been fooled by Yu Yuan. After all, they had all stripped off a drop of their essence blood not long ago for Yu Yuan to absorb and refine to strengthen himself. As soon as Yu Yuan woke up, he entered the barrier and faced Ancient God Golden Elephant directly. Then, Ancient God Golden Elephant made a condition that Yu Yuan could not refuse. It was a condition that would only benefit him and not harm him. How could Yu Yuan refuse such a condition? The 5 supreme forces had made a promise in front of all the sects in the world. They would never go back on their word. Sigh. Beirut sighed deeply. He seemed to be anticipating the scene of the Tranquil Continent and Tianyuan Continent's cultivators rushing in under Yu Yuan's welcome. The other outsider leaders also seemed to be able to see their subordinates being slaughtered and tortured one after another. Everyone, please do your best to break the formation. This little one is waiting for you inside. Inside the ward, Yu Yuan shook her head and let out a disdainful snort. Then, together with the soul-transforming pool, she retreated. I just want them to see me and see who they are. That's all. After returning to the dragon beheading platform, he winked at the foreign race leaders who looked like they had lost their parent. Chapter 948. Yu Yuan retreated into the Forbidden Land. Deep within the greenish-black barrier, Yu Yuan disappeared without a trace. Chao Jiazi and Fan Heching, who had used 2 drops of ancient god Golden Elephant's essence blood and a wisp of their soul to enter the Golden Mountain, also disappeared. The smile that had just appeared on Zhou Tsangmin's face faded away as well. He gently shook his head, his heart full of doubts. He couldn't understand why Yu Yuan would refuse such a generous offer from the 5 Supremes. He. On the deep-sea giant winged lizard's wide wings, Mo Yen, who had put the demonic saber into his body, grinned and laughed softly at first. Then, he could not help but laugh out loud. On one hand, he was glad that Yu Yuan didn't agree. On the other hand, he was mocking ancient god Golden Elephant, Chao Jiazi, Fan Heching, and Mo Baichuan for thinking too highly of themselves. If Yu Yuan didn't listen to such an offer and didn't release the formation, then wasn't ancient god Golden Elephant's persuasion and sincerity laughable? Many evil demons and great demons had strange looks in their eyes as they pondered. Grey Crow, who had interacted with Yu Yuan several times, cursed and said that Yu Yuan didn't know how to appreciate kindness, was an ungrateful wretch, and didn't know what was good for him. Although Grey Crow scolded him, there was a trace of admiration in his humanoid form. Forget it. Ancient god Golden Elephant sighed, and a murderous aura instantly filled the entire Golden Mountain. It was as if numerous golden rivers were surging within the Golden Mountain. Many underground veins within 1,000 kilometers were affected by it, and began to undergo exquisite changes. This peerless great demon was already using his artifact to gather the geographical advantage. He was truly going to do his best. He really doesn't know how to appreciate kindness. On the other side, Tang Zheng of the Primal Yang sect snorted coldly from the top of the flaming mountain. Star Frost soared Jining Shuang, a dazzling river of stars suddenly appeared on the back of her neck. The stars were like ice crystals, and they contained some of the true meanings of the laws of outer realms. I don't know what the higher-ups are thinking. They actually gave him such a condition. She had a proud personality. If not for her respect for Fan Heching, she would have already made things difficult for him. Ever since she learned about Yu Yuan from her disciple, Chun Qinyan, she had been very dissatisfied with Yu Yuan. It wasn't until later that she learned that Yu Yuan was actually that person's direct disciple that she decided to change her view of him. However, she was shocked to learn that Yu Yuan had been bewitched by the Shenhun sect and had formed an alliance with the foreign demons. He had walked to the opposite side of Hauran and became a traitor. She felt that Yu Yuan had completely disgraced that person. She couldn't wait to clean up the mess for Hanch. Therefore, she was even more displeased with Yu Yuan. In the Forbidden Land, seeing Yu Yuan return on the soul-dissolving pool, the group of outsider experts, who felt that their lives were coming to an end, let out a long sigh of relief and relaxed slightly. I'm curious. Beirut, the 9-star sage of the star race, took the initiative to walk up to Qin Lai, his eyes glittering. Why didn't you agree to their conditions? Because I was already in line, Yu Yuan said with a smile. It's not good to go back on my word. Upon hearing these words, all of the outsider experts present no longer questioned Yu Yuan. Even the Shenhun sect and President Li no longer questioned them. Yu Yuan had cleared President Li and the Shenhun sect of suspicion through his actions and attitude. Swoosh. Standing on the withering sword, Shi Quan condensed into a streak of white sword light and stood in front of Yu Yuan. For the first time, he looked at Yu Yuan with an approving gaze and said, "The 5 supreme forces have always thought that you were lucky enough to obtain the sword intent left behind by the moon-severing Grand Cultivator in the Forbidden Land and the recognition of the formation. Then, by chance, you became acquainted with the Shunhun sect. They offered such generous conditions because they thought that you had nothing to do with the Shunhun sect and wanted to control this grand formation through you. Instead of spending so much effort to break open the formation, after a pause, Shiquan said, your refusal made me think more highly of you. Yu Yuan smiled and said, thank you. He also saw through that the 5 supreme forces wanted to control the heaven-sealing soul-dissolving formation through him and use it to check or restrict the Shunhun sect. That power didn't attach much importance to Yu Yuan. Instead, it was the power of the formation that attracted their attention. This was especially true for the palaces in the profound heaven sect and the ancient god of Golden Mammoth's Golden Mountain. After the first round of testing the power of the heaven-sealing soul dissipation formation, the 5 great sects were increasingly convinced of the formation's power. The next wave of attacks will be even fiercer. I will defend the formation. Yu Yuan took a deep breath, his expression solemn. I will do my best to ensure that this formation is not broken. After it is broken, I believe that the experts gathered here will also suffer great losses. He glanced at the dark sky again. His gaze seemed to penetrate the boundless river of stars and clearly see the confrontation in the sky. I believe that we won't have to wait for too long. The battle outside will have a result soon. I also believe that the Shunhun sect's strength is not child's play. Whoosh! With the fiendish demon cauldron above his head and sitting on the soul-dissolving pool, he left the area where the dragon-slaying platform was and suddenly flew towards the dark pit where the realm passageway was. Everyone's gazes subconsciously followed him. The demon gods and the demonic clouds in the sky even followed him. Boom! Boom boom boom! Swoosh swoosh swoosh! Towering palaces and burning mountains at the border between the Forbidden Grounds and the Scarlet Sun Empire suddenly released terrifying streams of light and energy that fiercely crashed against the boundary. Within a dazzling river of stars, countless tiny cold stars floated and sank. Strands of sword light moved about within it like a myriad of fish, and it gradually improved the marvelous sword insight of the Sword of Starfrost. Crack! Crack! Another sword light pierced through the air, causing space to shatter. An aura that could shatter all things spread in all directions. Fan Hitching, Sword of Shattering! The Tianyuan continent's side is trying to break the formation. Everyone, prepare for battle! Watch out! Near the teleportation formation, Luo Yu, Qi Yunhong, Shi Yuxuan, and the others' expressions changed drastically. They abruptly rose from their cross-legged positions and looked ahead as if they were facing a great enemy. At this moment they all recognized one fact. From the moment they stepped into the Fallen Moon Forbidden Land, from the moment they participated in the trade fair with the Fiend Demon sect, and from the moment they chose to side with Yu Yuan, they had stood on the opposite side of the 5 supreme forces. They had made the decision to side with the Shunhun sect and President Li. Naturally, they had become the enemy of the 5 supreme forces. If the heaven-sealing soul-dissolving formation were to break and allow the experts and demons outside to enter, they would have to fight back. Otherwise, they would be mercilessly eliminated as an example. Only then would they be able to intimidate the other sects and people. Don't worry. I'm here. It won't be that easy to break this formation. Yu Yuan's deep voice echoed out from the void above the spatial tunnel. Everyone looked up, and to their surprise, discovered that numerous strange, chaotic, and unknown energies had suddenly flown out of the dark, bottomless pit down below, shining quietly in every corner of the Forbidden Land. For some reason, everyone suddenly had the misconception that the entire forbidden area was being strengthened because of this. It's not an illusion. They're energies from the depths of the starry river that are seeping out of the realm passage. Beirut, the 9-star sage, arrived in front of the pit in a flash. He narrowed his eyes and examined it with rapt attention. He discovered that numerous multicolored energies, clusters of dark aura, the residual essence of shattered stars, and the bone powder of spirit beasts were actually seeping out of the unstable realm passage. After arriving, Tian Tsang examined the area briefly, and was also surprised. Normally, a realm passage that can reach the demonic abyss of calamity shouldn't have such energies. One figure after another floated over, all of them looking curiously at the spatial tunnel. Those who knew a thing or two about realm passages were able to guess what was going on from the unusual turbulence inside. Chapter 949. The realm passage that connected to the demonic abyss of calamity had been created by the Dragon of Space and Time. It was also the main passage that the Dragon of Space and Time used to travel to the outer realms of the universe. It was the most important path for him to travel through space. After the dragons were defeated, Divine King Extreme Intelligence of the Shunhun sect used the dragon-slaying platform to comprehend the essence of the great Tao that the Dragon of Space and Time had left behind. He also used it to ascend to the nascent divinity realm and become a divine king. After that, Divine King Extreme Intelligence took control of the realm passage and deliberately allowed the heavenly demons to come here. He then sealed the passage so that the disciples and elders of the Shunhun sect could hunt down the reckless heavenly demons in the Forbidden Land to improve their cultivation and increase their strength. After that, Yen Qiling obtained Divine King Extreme Intelligence's profound inheritance related to space. When Yen Qiling went missing, the realm passage in the demonic abyss of calamity became chaotic and affected the entire passage. Many cracks appeared in the passage that was originally stable. Every crack corresponded to a different outer realm of the universe and many unknown lands and strange realms that had never been explored by living beings. Unknown lands were full of accidents and changes. Even nascent divinity realm cultivators who didn't understand the mysteries of space could get lost if they accidentally entered. They might not be able to find their way back for 1,000 or even 10,000 years. There were also mysterious lands that didn't contain any power and would devour all the energy in a living being. The unknown realms connected to the spatial rifts were known as mysterious and extremely dangerous realms in the universe since ancient times. No one who wasn't an extraordinary being and didn't understand the intricacies of space would dare to explore them. At this moment, in the realm channel that was obviously shaking chaotically and contained countless space forks, a lot of bizarre supernatural abilities that could be activated by the sealing heaven soul refining array to strengthen the Forbidden Land were surging out. What did this mean? Beirut, the 9-star sage, observed and sensed with rapt attention. Muttering incantations, starlight interweaving in his eyes, he suddenly exclaimed, "That divine king of the divine soul sect, Divine King Extreme Wisdom, went deep into the realm tunnel the Dragon of Space and Time created. In fact, he even deliberately shattered the passageway and traveled to different spatial rifts to explore many unknown places. Furthermore, it has permanently connected all the magical places where forbidden lands can gather supernatural powers to this passage. When a certain moment comes, the supernatural abilities contained in the unknown places will take advantage of the chaos in the passage to surge into the forbidden area and strengthen the heaven-sealing soul-transforming formation." In the end, Beirut clicked his tongue in wonder and gasped in admiration. Tian Tsang, Mia, Canli, Caro, and the other outsider experts were all knowledgeable experts. After listening to Nye Tian's explanation, they immediately understood what he meant. As it turned out, the Divine King of the Shunhun sect's understanding of the power of space and time was on par with that of the Spacetime Dragon. In terms of boldness and exploration, he had perhaps already surpassed the Spacetime Dragon. On the basis of this realm passage, Divine King Extreme Wisdom broke the passage and opened countless space rifts. He traveled to countless strange and unknown territories that no living beings had ever set foot in before. He found many secrets that were beneficial to the sealing heaven's soul-dissolving formation and the strength of the forbidden lands and connected them with the passage. Then, he waited for an opportune moment. When the realm passage cracked and the rifts reappeared, he left behind a backup plan to send the supernatural abilities he had accumulated and prepared to the forbidden lands. This greatly increased the power and strength of the sealing heaven's soul-transforming formation. ZZZT. Above the soul-transforming pool, Yu Yuan sat motionlessly as strange lights sputtered around him. Boom. Boom boom. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The Freedom Realm cultivators of the three high sects, the palaces transformed from the Heaven Palace imprints, the swords of shattering stars, the swords of frost, and the mountains of flames repeatedly clashed with the barrier. Dense sword lights flashed endlessly. The wild explosions outside and the surging attacks on the barrier seemed to be fed back to Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan was like a red-hot iron that was being hammered fiercely. Sparks flew everywhere. The outsider experts present took a serious look and suddenly understood something. Yu Yuan was using the attacks outside to temper his body, refine the drops of outsider blood essence, and open his acupoints. He was taking the opportunity to remove the impurities that remained in his body. This kid. Tian Tsung's blue eyes shone with dazzling light. The blue crystal formed by the blood-soul altar between his eyebrows reflected Yu Yuan's figure. I suddenly feel that the oracle from beyond the heavens was right. It said that he's our hope and the key to the battle in the Forbidden Lands. That's right. An abrupt voice sounded out of nowhere. Zhou Yu. Mr. Zhou. Gazes of astonishment immediately converged on the teleportation portal from every direction. A chubby Zhou Yu appeared out of thin air. Holding a horsetail whisk, he smiled and bowed to everyone. Sorry to keep you waiting. What happened? Mr. Zhou, the Shenhun sect and President Li didn't betray us, did they? Have you seen President Li? How does the Shenhun sect plan to save us? Everyone fired questions at Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu swung his horsetail whisk and rose into the air. He first looked at Shi Yuxuan and Qi Yunhong, then shook his head. Yan Qiling and I built this teleportation formation together. As one of the creators, I left a unique back door. It's because of this back door, and my mastery of the power of space, that I was able to return to this place from the outside even though the Forbidden Lands were sealed. Other than me, no one can come and go through this teleportation formation freely. So don't get your hopes up. As soon as he said this, the few people who had hope in their hearts immediately gave up. Don't be discouraged. Zhou Yu floated above everyone's heads, almost side by side with Yu Yuan, who was in the soul pool. Let me tell you the bad news first. The reason why the three high sects, the Devil's Palace, and the Goblin Temple dared to set up layers of defense outside of Howran and make the decision to fight the Shenhun sect, President Li, and the other patriarchs was because the blood demons, the Asuras, and some of your clansmen had washed the demonic abyss of calamity with blood. Many of your clansmen didn't agree with the Shenhun sect's ideology. Instead, like the five supreme forces, they felt that there had to be a victor between the races of the outer realms and the humans and monsters of Howran. They were in agreement with the five supreme forces. They didn't even discuss it before they sabotaged this magnificent feat. When the five supreme forces saw that they had made a move, they took advantage of the situation and moved to the outer realms. They heavily guarded the outer realms and prevented the experts of the Shenhun sect from setting foot in. Right now, most of the nascent divinities and Yao gods are in the outer realms. Plus, there are many times more enlightened realm and Yang god realm cultivators and monsters than there are outside the Forbidden Ground. They are in direct confrontation with the forces of the Shenhun sect. This is why you didn't see any strong reinforcements. Zhou Yu threw out the bad news first. Asuras of the blood demons. Caro of the silver scale race snorted coldly. So that's how it is. I do remember that when the other races proposed to come to Howran, they strongly opposed it. They always wanted to massacre the Central Realm and exterminate the humans and monsters here. Tell us the good news, Beirut said. The good news is that the forces you can see now are all the forces of this realm. Zhou Yu pointed in the direction of the Crimson Sun Empire, and then at the Silver Moon Empire. The people from the Tianyuan continent and the Tranquil continent represent the forces that the 5 supreme forces can mobilize here. Their nascent divinities are restrained and abide by the rules. They won't come here. As for the rest, most of the Enlightened Realm and Yang God Realm cultivators and monsters can't return from the outer realms. If we can defeat them and escape from their encirclement, we'll win. Plus, there's a high chance that we'll succeed. After saying this, he stared deeply at Yu Yuan with an expectant look on his face. Yu Yuan grinned sinisterly. Whoosh! A torrent of fire suddenly penetrated the greenish-black demon chi barrier and broke into the forbidden grounds. The group of outsider experts paled when they saw the torrent of fire. They thought to themselves, "It broke just like that?" In the next moment, they discovered that the other towering palaces, sword lights, and the primal Yang sect's mountain of flames were still blocked by the barrier, and the formation was still as solid as ever. When they saw Yu Yuan's mocking smile and the sinister light in his eyes, they immediately understood what had happened. Under Yu Yuan's control, the torrent of flames had been purposely released into the sea of flames. Yu Yuan greets Mountain Master Tang Jing. Chapter 950. Outside the Forbidden Land. The floating palace abruptly stopped its attacks, and the sword lights that contained the power of laws abruptly retracted as well. The giant figures in the sky that looked like gods of the Thunder Sect were restrained by the sect master of the Thunder Sect, and instantly gave up on the idea of jumping down and attacking the barrier with the power of thunder. Feng Pu and Mo Baichuan were both shocked on the fiery mountain that rose from the ground in the Red Sun Empire. The sect master of Mount Shaoyang had activated the Fiery Sun's spiritual divine incantation to the extreme, and formed a torrent of fiery sun. How could it so easily break the heaven-sealing soul-dispersing formation and enter the Forbidden Land? All hail Sect Master Tang! Sect Master Tang has successfully broken the formation. The cultivators of the Spirit Void Sect, the Thunder Sect, and the Taiyuan sect who didn't know the truth cheered excitedly when they saw the torrent of fiery flames break the formation and enter the Forbidden Land. "Shut up!" Their seniors immediately scolded them sternly, telling them to keep quiet. Meanwhile, Fan Heqing, Jining Shuang, and Zuantianzong, the 3 Freedom Realm cultivators in the palaces formed by the Heaven Palace seals, looked at the fiery mountain in shock. Sect Master Feng. Sect Master Mo. Many of the cultivators from Mount Shaoyang who had followed Tang Jing here were at a loss as they turned to Feng Pu and Mo Baichuan with pleading eyes. At this moment, even the slowest person realized what had happened. It wasn't that Tang Jing's Fiery Sun spiritual deity technique was peerlessly powerful and had broken the heaven-sealing soul-dissolving formation. Instead, it was someone in the Forbidden Grounds who had purposely opened a convenient door for Tang Jing, intentionally allowing the most rash and radical Tang Jing to rush into the Forbidden Grounds. Due to the death of his grandson, Tang Can, Tang Jing's temperament had changed greatly. His actions were too extreme. He didn't use tools or exquisite incantations to bombard the dark green barrier. Instead, he used an extremely powerful technique of the Flaming Sun Spirit Divine Incantation to stimulate the numerous pure divine flames he had collected and merge them into one inside his body, transforming them into a torrent of flames. He had put himself in danger and was indeed in danger. There are a few 9th-grade outsider experts in this forbidden area, Nie Tian said with a grim expression. Fan Heqing of the Sword Sect said with a solemn expression, "Lord Tang won't be able to hold on for long in there." "I understand." Feng Pu's face was also dark. "We can't delay for too long. We can only try our best to break the formation. I'll inform Lord Golden Elephant right now and tell them not to hold back anymore. Use their strongest power and fastest speed to break the formation. Everyone, please cooperate with us as well. Chao Jiazi said solemnly, "Of course." Jining Shuang nodded. "I've already made preparations." Inside the barrier, Tang Jing, the lord of Mount Shaoyang, was wreathed in raging flames. One after another, a total of 8 pillars of flame shot out from behind him. Tang Jing, who had yet to reveal his Dharma form, was slightly short. However, his face was flushed and he was hale and hearty. He was wearing a short gown, and the red veins on his bare forearm were bulging like flame serpents. Goo goo! It was as if there were pools of boiling lava in his chest, as if they were about to spew endless flame energy. Yu Yuan greets Lord Tang Jing. Upon hearing this shout, Tang Jing, who was the lord of a mountain, knew that he had fallen into Yu Yuan's trap. Due to his overly aggressive attacks, Yu Yuan, who had gained the recognition of the sealing heaven soul-dispersing formation, had secretly pulled him into the Forbidden Land. Tang Jing, who realized the situation in an instant, wasn't afraid. Whoosh whoosh. His eyes were ignited by raging flames at the same time. His short, thick body suddenly expanded as he breathed. In just a few seconds, Tang Jing's Dharma form appeared. Like a legendary god of fire, he stood on top of the 8 burning pillars of flame. This Dharma form was as tall as a mountain, and the top of its head was almost connected to the dark blue sky. Tang Jing of Mount Shaoyang. As he spoke with his Dharma form, his voice was as loud as a bell. All intelligent beings in the Forbidden Land couldn't help but look at him, unable to shift their gazes and attention away from him. He didn't look directly at Yu Yuan, who was sitting in the soul-dispersing pool. Instead, he looked down at the foreign race leaders of the same level, both familiar and unfamiliar, scattered around the realm passageway. Then, he looked straight ahead at the 3 heavenly demon gods in the depths of the surging demonic clouds. "All hail Lord Tang, you're the first to break the barrier and set foot in this place. You'll definitely be admired if word gets out." Yu Yuan smiled brightly. She didn't mind Tang Jing's deliberate disdain and disregard. "If Lord Tang Shan survives, everyone will worship you even more when they mention your name. You've colluded with foreign demons to murder a local cultivator, you brat. Your name as a traitor will spread throughout Howren and the outer realms. Once this formation is broken, you'll be the first to be killed. Keep laughing, I'd like to see how long you can laugh." Tang Jing shouted angrily. Boom, boom, boom. Wreathed in bolts of crimson lightning, the 8 blazing pillars of light flew into the sky, as if they were being held up by gods. They adjusted their direction in midair, and flew straight towards the soul-transforming lake where Yu Yuan was. Clusters of fiery patterns bloomed on the surface of the pillars of flame like flowers, containing all kinds of mysteries of fire. Anyone who practiced fire-attributed incantations could decipher the true meaning of the great Tao from the patterns, and use them to refine their Yin spirit and find a way to ascend to the Yang spirit level. The primal Yang sect was the most powerful sect in the world when it came to the power of fire. They were slightly stronger than the Red Devil school. As the lord of a mountain, Tang Jing could read all the secret scriptures and incantations of the primal Yang sect, and study any arcana or great Tao related to fire. His thoughts, his words, his actions, and even his eyes were able to fully display the wonders of fire. For example, right now, the clusters of soul fire should have flown into Yu Yuan's small world in his sea of awareness to burn out his Yin spirit, heavenly soul, and true soul. However, they were intercepted by the black soul power around the edge of the soul-dispersing pool. The fist-like black soul power morphed into numerous small fists that smashed the hidden soul fire one by one. Yu Yuan gave a low chuckle. "Don't play these little tricks on me in my territory, Lord Tang. Now that you're here, don't even think about going back alive. Seeing that his sneak attack was ineffective, Tang Zheng didn't waste any more time. He was about to drive the 8 pillars of flame to destroy Yu Yuan and the soul-dispersing pool. Yu Yuan lowered his head and said to Tian Song with an unquestionable expression, "Kill Tang Jing first." Tian Song pondered for 3 seconds before looking up at the 3 new devil gods in the depths of the raging demonic clouds and saying, "Let's fight." "As you command, my lord." Sidra, who was in the form of a 9-headed snake, had 9 crowns on its heads. One after another, they shone like stars, releasing power that could bewitch people's minds, stir up inner demons, spread evil plagues, attack the mind, or weaken the will. They were all directed at Tang Jing. "Long time no see, Lord Tang." Simits of the heart demon race appeared from the demonic clouds, stepping on thick, gorgeous books. Colorful ribbons fluttered all over her body, making her look like a fairy who was about to soar into the sky. She flung her sleeve, and thousands of devils instantly appeared in Tang Zheng's sea of awareness, creating endless illusions. "I've admired you for many years, Lord Tang. I should have had a fair fight with you, but the timing isn't right. Please forgive me, Lord Tang." Adler of the prime devil race was as tall as a mountain, and his body was pieced together by countless colorful armor. He held a golden halberd and waved it casually. It was as if a river of stars had been pulled out of the void. Thousands of little devils appeared inside it and let out hair-raising screams. Simits attacked Tang Zheng's sea of awareness, while Sidra weakened and disintegrated Tang Zheng's various powers and tore apart his Dharma idol. Adler, who was the toughest and most skilled in battle, had already shattered a pillar of flame with his golden halberd and was fighting Tang Zheng's Dharma idol head-on. With the 3 devil gods working together, Tang Jing would die for sure if he couldn't get out of the Forbidden Land. Chapter 951. Simits of the Mind Demon Race, Sidra of the Shadow Demon Race, and Adler of the Prime Demon Race were all demon gods. The most powerful of the outer realm heavenly demons was the Great Demon God, which corresponded to the nascent divinity of humans and the demon divinity of demons. The demon gods below them were comparable to carefree realm cultivators in terms of combat power and rank. With 3 fiend celestials joining forces to deal with Tang Jing, he had no chance of winning. Moreover, Tang Jing of Mount Shaoyang was only at the early stage of the carefree realm. Moreover, he was old, and his realm was limited to that. Not all carefree realm cultivators had the chance to ascend to the nascent divinity realm. Like Tang Jing, most carefree realm cultivators had no hope of advancing further. Even Tang Jing himself knew that he could at most take a small step forward and enter the middle stage of the carefree realm. He didn't even have any hope of reaching the later stage. As such, he was facing 3 demon gods of the sky demon race. Among them, Sidra of the shadow demon race was a terrifying existence who had a chance of becoming a great demon god within 1,000 years. Naturally, he knew that the odds were stacked against him. 500 years ago, I was indebted to Lord Tangshan for your care in a remote realm under my name. When you left, the entire world was scorched black, and 3,000 of my people were reduced to ashes. Caro of the silver scales soared into the sky. Numerous lakes suddenly appeared on the surface of his shiny silver scales. "I've wanted to meet you for many years, Lord Tangshan, but I couldn't because you lived in Howran for a long time. Now that I've seen you today, I'm impressed. I won't hold back." Scales flew out of Quairo's body. Each scale contained a drop of his blood essence, which enlarged the shiny silver scales into a sharp silver blade that could easily tear apart a Star River battleship or cut a mountain range. Whoosh whoosh. Dozens of silver blades, each of which covered several acres, flew toward Tang Zheng's fire god Dharma idol. Above the soul pool, Yu Yuan, who was facing Tang Zheng, watched the three demon gods and Quiro of the silver scale race charge toward Tang Jing with a focused expression. For some reason, when he looked at the enormous silver blade, he could see that Quiro's blood essence had turned into a sparkling silver lake that provided a vast amount of blood essence energy. He could also sense the exquisite release of Quiro's bloodline from the lake of blood essence. In fact, he might even be able to comprehend many blood magics that were related to the mysteries of water and activated by the bloodline crystal chain. Is it because my life altar refined the drop of blood Quiro gave me and merged it with my body? As soon as this thought appeared in his mind, he carefully observed the situation and felt that something was wrong. Simits of the heart demon race had used a secret soul art to create thousands of witches in the depths of Tang Zheng's soul consciousness. They had devoured Tang Zheng's pure soul seed, corroded his memories, and severed the connection between his soul and his arts. Yu Yuan could actually sense it. Sidra of the Shadow Devil clan, who had the head of a 9-headed snake, wore a magnificent crown, and released a type of power that could affect and restrict Tang Zheng. He could also tell at a glance what kind of power it could release. Every time Adler waved his golden halberd, he could vaguely tell where Tang Zheng would be attacked. See through everything? Foresight? Yu Yuan rubbed his chin, his eyes deep and unfathomable. He had a feeling that some profound changes had happened to him that gave him a whole new understanding of power, the wonders of outsider bloodlines, and the heavenly devil's soul magic. Did the power left by the Dragon Slayer in the dragon beheading platform give me such a transformation? Or did it come naturally because of my breakthrough into the soul wander stage? He was full of questions and couldn't figure it out. If this spell formation doesn't break, Tang Jing will die soon. The chubby Zhou Yu waved his horsetail whisk and said worriedly, I don't even need to think to know that the attacks from outside the Forbidden Land will be as fierce as a storm. Yu Yuan, don't worry about anything else, and don't worry about Tang Jing's life. Your responsibility is to take good care of this spell formation. Upon hearing these words, the outsider experts, Shi Quan, and the others who hadn't joined the battle all realized what was going to happen next. In order to save Tang Jing, the three high sects, the Devil's Palace, and the Goblin Temple would do everything in their power. Would this formation really be able to withstand it? Boom, 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 boom. A clear dent suddenly appeared in the barrier facing the Scarlet Sun Empire. The complex and mysterious demonic formations that contained hundreds of transformations all exploded and dissipated. 7 seals glowing with divine light fell one after another. It was as if 7 heavens and earth were crashing into the barrier. The Heavenly Palace seal no longer transformed into a majestic palace. Instead, under the control of Chao Jia's mind, it blossomed with a brilliance that even a Freedom Realm cultivator couldn't stare at for long. It had officially sounded the horn to break the array. All of the Xuantianzong's forces had already retreated. The 7 Heaven Palace seals were on full display, their divine might vast. The Heaven Palace seal, which had shrunk thousands of times and was in its normal form, shot out billions of rays of light every time it landed on the barrier. The demonic patterns on the surface of the heaven-sealing soul-transforming formation were smashed to pieces. As the old demonic patterns and demonic formations exploded, new ones hurriedly filled in to maintain the stability of the formation. As the person in charge of the formation, Yu Yuan suddenly stood up from his sitting position. Whoosh! The soul-transforming pool floated through the air and instantly arrived at the place where the 7 Heaven Palace seals had landed and entered the barrier. Inky soul energy surged out from under the pool and turned into strings of mysterious black runes. Like a black river, it poured into the areas that had been dented by the Heaven Palace seals. As soon as the inky soul energy arrived, the dented areas immediately smoothed out, and many demonic patterns and formations reappeared. Yu Yuan. Many cultivators of the Tianyuan continent recognized him when he flew into the barrier with the soul-transforming pool. Fan Heching, Jining Shuang, Mo Baichuan, Chao Jiazi, and the others all had different expressions. Many people with weaker cultivation realms, who were also familiar with him, softly exclaimed. Wei Xian of the Frigid Yin sect had just condensed his yang spirit. He had met Yu Yuan in Spider City and tortured Lin Hanyu for a long time under Yu Yuan's nose. At this moment, Wei Xian's joy of advancing to the yang spirit stage suddenly disappeared when he saw Yu Yuan. Jiang Xingwen of the Taiyuan sect was no longer gentle and virtuous. Her face was cold and her eyes were gloomy. Jining Shuang snorted coldly. It really is him. Fan Heching sighed softly and said faintly, what a pity. From the moment Yu Yuan rejected the ancient god Golden Elephant at the other end of the barrier, he knew that Yu Yuan could no longer enter the sword sect. In the future, the two sides would only be mortal enemies. The three high sects, the Devil's Palace, and the Goblin Temple had given Yu Yuan a choice. Yu Yuan had insisted on it. No one could change it. Yu Yuan, we meet again. Chao Jiazi cupped his fists from afar. Thank you for your hospitality at the Fiend Demon sect. If you weren't in the forbidden area, you and I could have become close friends. Now, I can only say that as a sign of respect, I will attack the formation with all my strength. Within the greenish-black barrier, Yu Yuan smiled and said concisely, please. This kid is really arrogant to the extreme. An old Freedom Realm cultivator from Xuantianzong named Guanghong snorted to Chao Jiazi's left. He wants to break the 7 heavenly palace seals. How much confidence can this heaven-sealing soul-dissolving formation give him? The Sword Sect, Primal Yang Sect, Devil's Palace, and Goblin Temple are still accumulating power and not attacking with all their strength. Martial uncle, he is indeed extraordinary. Chao Jiazi's expression was serious. Also, the 7 heavenly palace seals we have are the main force in breaking the formation. The attacks from the other 4 sides are not as strong as mine. The only person he really needs to be on guard against is me. Yu Yuan was arrogant and Chao Jiazi was conceited and arrogant. His words were no less than Yu Yuan's expression and actions. I made a move for you at the Split Yen Islands. Fan Heching let out a soft roar as beams of sword light shot towards Yu Yuan's ward like rainbows. You're the reason why I'm attacking today. Puff, puff, puff. Dozens of tiny dots suddenly appeared on the greenish-black energy barrier in front of Yu Yuan. Every tiny dot was a sharp and violent burst of sword light that shattered the cluster of Mageweth arrays. Looking at the dots of light, Yu Yuan could even feel Fan Heching's firm will to shatter this world and the stars in the outer realms. I was very grateful for your help at the Split Yen Islands, Senior, but today, this formation won't be broken by your sword. Chapter 952. Yu Yuan's heart trembled slightly. More and more Mageweth arrays appeared in the greenish-black barrier before him, as if new worlds were being formed at a speed visible to the naked eye. The unparalleled sword intent of the Sword of Crushing was easily covered, smoothed out and drowned out. The dazzling sword lights were extinguished one by one, losing their miraculous power. Yu Yuan, who was standing upright in the soul-dissolving pool, stared at Fan Heching through the barrier, bowed, and then straightened up again. A boundless, vast, and distant ancient sword essence suddenly burst out of his arms. As soon as the sword intent appeared, the numerous moon meteors in the Forbidden Land and the evil deity statues carved from the sword prison reacted at the same time. Silver-gray light emanated from the moon meteors and the evil deity statues, illuminating the dark Forbidden Land as if it were daytime. Yu Yuan let out a soft exclamation of surprise. He thought to himself, when the Silver Moon Queen arrived here, she had already consumed all of the moon energy left in the moon meteors. How could these meteors from outer space still have any special effects? In the next moment, ZZZT, ZZZT, the spirit swords on the backs of the people from the sword sect and the wisps of sword intent they had refined in their bodies were also activated. They responded to the sword intent in Yu Yuan's arm bones, as if they had met an old friend or were paying respects to their ancestors. Jining Shuang, the great sword immortal who practiced the sword of Starfrost, saw her sword spirit inside her sword with a panicked expression. The sword spirit inside Fan Heching's sword of crushing also seemed to be suppressed, and was slightly inferior. The spirit swords in the hands of the Sun God Realm experts of the Sword Sect and the Soul Wander Realm disciples from the Sword Cavern buzzed softly. Brilliant sword intent. Heaven-piercing sword. It's the sword incantation he left behind. The expression of the Sword Sect master, who knew the inside story, changed slightly as he sensed the familiar sword intent. Sure enough, he really did obtain Nie Qingtian's sword technique. An old woman with white hair was sitting on the sword-shaped boat. Her originally turbid eyes were filled with excitement and regret as she said slowly, "He has obtained Nie Qingtian's inheritance and walked on the same path as Nie Qingtian." Nie Qingtian. Upon hearing this taboo name, some of the elders from the Primal Yang sect and the Xuantianzong sect looked extremely embarrassed. It was as if they were reminded of the fear of being dominated by Nie Qingtian. He remembered the nightmare of Nie Qingtian killing countless grand cultivators in the depths of the universe with the 9 slashes to the sky when he swung his sword. It was as if he could see Nie Qingtian swinging his sword, and the great cultivators of this world fell like a rain of light. He was none other than the legendary moon-severing supreme cultivator, a great sword celestial at the primordial spirit stage. He was also the co-creator of the fallen moon Forbidden Land and the sword prison. He was the one who had slashed the moon in the starry river and caused the moon meteors to fall from the sky. Then, he had branded every moon meteor with his unparalleled sword power to suppress the soul-transforming lake and the heaven-sealing soul-transforming spell formation, so that it was firmly under his control. The sword mark at the bottom of the soul-transforming lake was the sealing power. The remaining sword intent and sword light were all used to bind and imprison him. He had also forged the soul of another moon in the starry river as a whetstone for his sword. Then, he had carved it into the sword prison to imprison the grand demons, dragons, and demons that had come from the Howran heaven and earth and wandered in the starry river. Nie Qingtian was the most talented and outstanding figure of the previous era. It was also him who had been bewitched and stimulated by something. One day, his personality had suddenly changed, and he had walked the path of rebellion against the 3 great sects, the Devil's Palace and the Goblin Temple. In the end, this senior, who had been the pride of all the sword immortals of the previous era, had been killed by the 5 great sections. Rumor had it that the heaven-reaching sword had shattered and gone missing because of him. The sword spirit had sensed the soul-transforming lake, which contained the most sword intent and sword power, and had drifted in the starry river for many years. Then, it had returned to the forbidden land of the fallen moons through the demonic abyss of calamity. At this moment, the sword intent within Yu Yuan's arm bones could cause the numerous spiritual swords of the sword sect to ring. Of course, it had to be the heaven-reaching sword's sword spirit. It seems that the heaven-reaching sword's sword spirit knew that he had the potential to rebel when he was chosen by it during the trial in the forbidden land of the fallen moons. Face grim, Reverend Spirit Void said in a cold voice, Nie Qingtian betrayed the Howran heaven and earth. It's only natural that the sword spirit chose him to be the successor. Upon hearing these words, many elders of the sword sect glared at him. Nie Qingtian had once been the pride of the sword sect. The nascent divinity realm sword immortal, who currently ranks second, had only broken through after Nie Qingtian's death, and now had one of the 12 most powerful sword immortals. But that person seemed to never be able to reach the heights of Nie Qingtian and had always lived in his shadow. In the hearts of many elders of the sword sect, Nie Qingtian at his peak was stronger than the current master of the sword sect at that time. Nie Qingtian was the current master of the sword sect and the idol of his youth. It was deeply ingrained in his heart. Hearing Reverend Spirit Void mention his name in such an insulting manner, those old sword immortals with extreme temperaments from the sword sect looked like they were going to settle scores and vent their anger on the Spirit Void sect. Seeing their malicious expressions, Reverend Spirit Void felt a chill in his heart and quickly shut his mouth. Originally, the Spirit Void sect could not compete with the sword sect. Now they had suffered great losses and their position as the head of the lower sects had been surpassed by the Stellar Luna sect and the Thunder sect. He did not want to make the sect worse because of his quick tongue. Heaven-reaching sword, Nie Qingtian. Yu Yuan lowered his head and looked at the sword intent emanating from his arm bone. He felt the sword soul's restlessness and combined it with the noise outside. He immediately knew the true name of the moon's severing great cultivator and the name of the divine sword he wielded. Fan Heqing, Jining Shuang, and many other old sword immortals of the sword sect suddenly fell silent when the sword intent burst forth from his arm bone. Fan Heqing did not continue to attack. He seemed to be waiting for the sword soul in his arm bone to calm down and for the sword intent to suppress him to disappear again. Many elders of the Primal Yang sect and Xuantianzong, including the Carefree Realm cultivators, were momentarily stunned by Nie Qingtian's name. At this moment, the barrier on the other side began to be attacked by the combined forces of the Goblin Temple and the Devil's Palace. The momentum was astonishing. Yu Yuan turned his head and glanced at them. His true body jumped up and entered the fiendish demon cauldron. In the next second, he sat down in the fiendish demon cauldron and went straight to the other side of the barrier where the Goblin Temple and the Devil's Palace were gathered. His Yin soul was still standing in front of Chao Jia's barrier in the soul refining pool. His true body is far away, and his Yin soul is controlling the soul refining pool. He doesn't know his place. Wei Zhua, the head of the lightning sect, who was a head taller than ordinary people, snorted coldly. The gods of the lightning sect in the sky suddenly threw down hundreds of enormous lightning balls toward the barrier where Yu Yuan's Yin soul was. The hundreds of lightning balls were as large as millstones. Thunder rumbled and dazzling bolts of lightning coiled around them. With Wei Zhua's thunder power, as long as there was even the slightest gap in the barrier, he would be able to strike Yu Yuan's Yin divinity with his thunder power. With the power of thunder, he would be able to kill Yu Yuan within a breath. Heh! Yu Yuan's Yin soul chuckled in a low voice. The hundreds of lightning balls immediately exploded on the surface of the barrier. They didn't cause much of a stir. They didn't even break the demonic pattern array inside the barrier. You're still lacking. Hovering above the soul refining pool, Yu Yuan's Yin soul suddenly devoured the inky soul energy in the pool. In a short time, it seemed to create an inky body. In the eyes of the people outside, Yu Yuan's Yin soul was drowned by the viscous inky liquid and solidified into a dark, evil person. His appearance was exactly the same as his true body. He didn't have any flesh or spirit aura, but he had the purest soul energy. His Yin soul was supposed to be illusory, but it gave people the feeling that he had a physical body. It was incomparably mysterious and special. Mo Baichuan, Jining Shuang, Fan Heqing, and Feng Pu looked at the extremely special newborn Yu Yuan inside the barrier and felt the strangeness of his body. Their expressions gradually turned serious. So strange, standing on the flaming mountain, Feng Pu's eyes burned with red light. If one looked closely, they would see that the dots of red light were surging lava pools. Inside the lava pools, blazing flames and boiling lava. Eye of Earth Fire! Feng Pu shouted in his heart. The fiery light in his eyes instantly turned into smaller fiery eyes of gold. He was like an insect that had developed compound eyes. He could see through many angles and see the essence of things. The light in his eyes seemed to penetrate the barrier and illuminate Yu Yuan's body. It's a pure soul form, but it seems real. Or rather, it's condensed into the purest soul energy and materialized it. After a few seconds of careful observation, Feng Pu's expression froze. The fiery light in his eyes suddenly dissipated. An idea that even he thought was ridiculous appeared in his mind. Chapter 953. What did you see? Mo Baichuan asked in a low voice. The first form when condensing the nascent spirit. Feng Pu shook her head vigorously, as if to shatter the thought in her heart. It should be some kind of illusion. The barrier of the sealing heaven soul dissipating formation wrapped around him, and the soul dissipating pool strengthened his Yin spirit. It broke my eye of earth fire and gave birth to an unreal thought. Mo Baichuan was slightly shocked. Awo! A mournful wolf howl pierced through the night sky and traveled thousands of miles. Whether it was the cultivators of the Tianyuan continent or the Red Sun Empire and the Silver Moon Empire, all the diligent cultivators heard it. Those who heard this sound felt a dull pain in their eardrums. They could feel the sharpness and fierceness of the wolf howl. Under the night sky, there was not a single bright star. Only a bright crescent moon hung in the sky. Under the silver crescent moon, a huge, silver-gray wolf howled at the bright crescent moon. Circles of silver light rippled in all directions like the ripples in a lake. Within the ripples, specks of silver-white light contained different meanings of holiness, destruction, bloodthirst, and so on. All of a sudden, a spiked club made of teeth shot out of the depths of the howling wolf's thick fur. It turned into a streak of silver lightning and shot towards the ward. The mace suddenly became infinitely large and swallowed all the silver light rippling from his body in an instant. The silver light of the mace quickly became so bright that people didn't dare to look directly at it. The bright crescent moon in the sky dimmed as all its light was absorbed by the mace. It was almost invisible in the night sky, and it was difficult to find a trace of it. Poof! The mace, which was larger than mountains and rivers in the Silver Moon Empire, heavily smashed into the barrier of the sealing heaven soul dissipating formation. The barrier, which covered an area of more than 10 acres, was smashed open as if the world had collapsed. Awo! When the Ash Wolf King howled again, the huge spiked club slammed into the forbidden area and smashed a huge crater in the ground. The people outside could finally see the scene inside the forbidden area. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! A streak of silver-gray lightning and many figures took advantage of the opening to flash into the cave. When more people from the Devil's Palace, the Goblin Temple, the Red Devil School, and the Heavenly Evil Sect tried to enter, the holes created by the spiked club were filled with greenish-black demonic energy. Elsewhere in the barrier, Yu Yuan's true body landed on the fiendish demon cauldron and smiled as he looked outside. Something's wrong. Peacock King's brows furrowed slightly. Her body shook, and the colorful feathers flew back from the surface of the barrier and arranged themselves into a fan shape behind her back. Chao Jia's 7 Sky Palace seals couldn't break the barrier. The Blue Wolf King's mace broke through it too easily. I suspect, ancient god Golden Elephant's expression changed. You suspect that he was intentionally placed here just like Tangjing? Their conversation caused the other cultivators from the Devil's Palace and the Goblin Temple to panic. Unfortunately, the barrier returned to its original state, and they could no longer see the scene inside. They could only see Yu Yuan standing at the center of the barrier and controlling the fiendish demon cauldron. Inside the inner world, at the front of the dragon-slaying platform, the moment the level 9 great demon Ash Wolf King stepped into the forbidden area, he transformed into a tall man with shoulder-length silver-gray hair and a slightly long face. The Ash Wolf King's aura was wild and unruly, and his bright silver eyes gave off an aggressive feeling. The giant spiked club forged from his sharp teeth sank into the huge hole in front of him, releasing a silver-white metallic luster. Above the spiked club floated a stone statue with two faces, but its face was blurry. The Ash Wolf King's slender fingers and fingernails were as sharp as silver knives. His fingernails pressed against his forehead, and his cold eyes stared deeply at the stone statue. His expression gradually became gloomy. "It's this damned thing." Only he knew that when he attacked the sealing Heaven Soul Dissipation formation, his bloodline seemed to have been affected by an external evil energy, causing him to lose his mind for a period of time. He was lost in many greedy illusions, and he saw many bright moons beckoning and inviting him. His bloodline and the Ash Wolf King's body consumed moonlight all year round, and many of his talents and secret arts were related to the moon. The full moons contained abundant moon energy, and he couldn't help but want to consume and refine them. Then, dizzily, he turned into a silver-gray bolt of lightning and flew in when the spiked club made a hole. Seeing him fly in, the other great demons of the Goblin Temple and some reckless fellows also rushed in. "Ash Wolf King, I feel like I've been tricked by you." As soon as the skinny Lord Grey Crow entered and saw the Ash Wolf King in human form, he revealed a look of realization. He knew that things were not going well. Immediately he began to curse. "You motherf asterisk cur, why didn't you say anything when you were about to die? You made everyone suffer with you." Other than Grey Crow, there were 2 level 8 great demons of the Goblin Temple and 4 young god realm cultivators of the Devil's Palace. Among them, the mysterious ghost demon envoy also rushed in through the hole on the silver rainbow demonic shuttle. After Grey Crow finished cursing, he saw that the Ash Wolf King didn't reply. He couldn't help but follow the Ash Wolf King's gaze and look into the distant sky. He immediately saw Tang Zheng's towering avatar, which looked like a god of fire, being smashed to pieces by Caro of the Silver Scales and Adler of the Prime Devil race. Adler's patchwork body, pieces of colorful armor, and Caro's silver scale armor were still destroying the 8 pillars of fire Tang Zheng had refined. Tang Zheng's 8 pillars of flame had been refined from volcanoes that were hundreds of thousands of meters tall in the blazing realm in the Starry River. The 8 pillars of fire could be turned into his 8 avatars, and he could also arrange them into a fire formation to unleash the full power of the Flaming Sun spiritual divine art he cultivated. But now, his Dharma form had been smashed into pieces by Crow and Adler. The 8 pillars of fire he had refined with his life, and spent 1,000 years refining, were also broken into pieces and scattered all over the ground. It was easy to imagine how badly injured Lord Tang Shan was right now. Grey Crow, who had wanted to continue cursing, fell silent when he saw Tang Zheng's miserable state. His eyes darted around as he tried to think of a way to slow things down. Yu Yuan. Inside the dark green ward, Yu Yuan turned around and looked at him with a faint smile on her face. "You boy, the Goblin Temple made the 3 high sects and Zhu Jin Ing of the Devil's Palace agree to let bygones be bygones as long as you open the barrier," Lord Grey Crow shouted. "The Goblin Temple has always been kind to you. Ash Wolf King and I, they." He pointed at the other 2 great demons of the Goblin Temple. "Don't you bite the hand that feeds you!" Grey Crow. Ash Wolf King howled violently and interrupted him. His silver eyes were filled with savagery and killing intent. "Kid, I know I fell into a trap. I wasn't careful enough. But since I'm here, I'm not afraid of anything. I really want to see if those rank 9 foreign experts are strong enough to kill me." "You should have died a long time ago," Yu Yuan said in a low voice. As soon as he said this, Beirut of the Star race, Mia of the Dark Spirit race, Sansom of the Banshee race, Ghost King Tiansong, and Withered Sword Shi Quan immediately rushed over with their rank 8 subordinates. "Ash Wolf King. This ferocious wolf is a bastard in outer space and in vast sea. It wasn't just the foreign experts. Even Shi Yuxuan of the Heavenly Medicine sect and Qi Yunhong, who had betrayed the Lightning sect, looked over with satisfaction in their eyes. The Goblin Temple and the Ash Wolf King's notoriety were known throughout the world. The Ash Wolf King had come from the Great Lake of the Desolate God. He had disregarded the rules set by the Desolate God and was banished by the Desolate God. After that, he roamed the different mountains and swamps of the Qian continent. Countless mortal women, clans, and weaker cultivators were slaughtered by him, wantonly killed by him. For this reason, the Goblin Temple had arranged for Commander Lu to kill him, but he had escaped with serious injuries 3 times in a row at Lu's hands. Instead, he had gained the favor of the Goblin Temple and was accepted by the Goblin Temple as an exception. He had become one of the Goblin Temple's generals. After that, the Goblin Temple helped him break through his bloodline and often arranged for him to secretly hunt the great demons that had come out of the Desolate God's Great Lake. The Goblin Temple seemed to want to use him to disgust the Desolate God. During this time, the Ash Wolf King's evil deeds did not change. He continued to kill the innocent on Qian continent. Because he had been accepted by the Goblin Temple, the cultivators of the various empires did not dare to oppose the Goblin Temple and could only turn a blind eye to him. Yu Yuan had interacted with him in his previous life as the medicine god Hanch. He had been disgusted by this gray wolf. Since he wanted to kill him, he hoped that the first to die on the Tianyuan continent would be Tangzheng. On the Tranquil continent, he hoped that the first to die would be the Ash Wolf King. Chapter 954. Deep-Sea Giant Winged Lizard's Head Pavilion. Yao Huangqi, the leader of the Devil Palace's expedition, watched as Grey Wolf King, Grey Crow, and several other powerful demons of the demon sect went in one after another. Then, he suddenly rose to his feet. Yao Huangqi was in high spirits, as if something good had happened. While Ancient God Golden Elephant, Peacock King, Zhong Hao, Zhang Guanyu, and the other Freedom Realm experts were preparing to launch another wave of attacks, Yao Huangqi suddenly raised his hand and gestured for them to wait for now. As a result, many puzzled gazes fell on him. There's no need to rush. Senior Golden Elephant, you should tell Feng Pu to calm down. Yao Huangqi looked calm and confident, and a strange smile appeared on his lips. Don't ask me why, because I don't have the right to explain. Ancient God Golden Elephant, the Peacock King, and all the other great Yao were stunned. They didn't know what Yao Huangqi was planning. After a moment of silence, Peacock King asked, "Do you have a secret to breaking the formation?" "Maybe not, but I can definitely cause chaos in the Forbidden Land." Yao Huangqi smiled mysteriously. "Let's wait and see." "Uncle Yao!" Mo Yen exclaimed. Yao Huangqi's unfathomable expression caused him to have other thoughts and ideas. He really wanted to know the inside story. "Forgive me for not being able to say more." Yao Huangqi shook his head. He was a late-stage Freedom Realm expert. Not only was he a good friend of Devil's Palace's Zhu Zhening, he was also her guide. He was even older than Zhu Zhening. Apart from the long-lived great demons of the Goblin Temple, most of the human cultivators here were younger than him in seniority and age. Ancient God Golden Elephant and the other great demons, Zhong Hao, Zhang Guanyu, and the other great demons chose to believe him, even though they couldn't see what was happening inside the Forbidden Land. Awo! Grey Wolf King howled again and transformed into a majestic silver-gray wolf that looked like it could swallow the moon. Then, he silently used his bloodline secret art to summon the giant spiked club. The ferocious club head and sharp teeth gleamed with a cold light. After he stood up like a human, he held it in his wolf claws. "Kill him!" 9-star Sage Beirut declared the start of the battle. Inside his loose clothes, a prismatic compass with stars revolving around it was tossed out by him. The prismatic compass fell towards the Grey Wolf King like a sea of stars. Thousands of stars floated on it, and Beirut's bloodline crystal chains were connecting them to each other. Whoosh! Under the dark sky, a brilliant light suddenly appeared, illuminating the forbidden area as if it was daytime. Beirut snorted. His entire body appeared in the dazzling galaxy. His two hands formed one mysterious seal after another in a dazzling manner. Every seal was shining brightly between his hands, containing the mysteries of the operation of the galaxy in the sky. Bang! The Grey Wolf King, who was about to fly into the sky, fell heavily to the ground after its mountainous body was only 10 meters above the ground. Rays of starlight fell from the dazzling galaxy where Beirut stood like thousands of starlight arrows. Puff puff, puff puff puff. Flowers of blood suddenly bloomed on the Grey Wolf King's body, which was hundreds of meters tall. The Grey Wolf King let out another mournful howl. Its silver-gray fur stood on end and shone brightly, healing all of its wounds in an instant. Wounds open again, flesh rots, blood becomes dirty, demon soul becomes confused. Sansom of the female demon race's long, slender snake-like hair suddenly began to grow wildly as she chanted. Yu Yuan, who was inside the barrier, heard everything clearly. He could actually understand the meaning of the female demon's unique language. As Sansom chanted, the Grey Wolf King's wounds that had just been healed opened again as if time had reversed. The originally small hole was torn open, and it was so deep that the bone could be seen. Thick water mixed with dirty blood began to overflow from the wounds, and a foul stench assailed their nostrils. The Grey Wolf King's bright silver eyes gradually showed confusion, as if it was fighting against a foreign evil soul and trying to regain its autonomy. With Beirut and Sansom, the Grey Wolf King is no match for them. Tiansong, who had planned to interfere, took out the blue devil's tear and held it in his palm in the form of a blood spirit altar. Seeing the Grey Wolf King covered in wounds, he couldn't help but mutter, "This Grey Wolf King seems to be much weaker than the legendary one." "Something is restraining his demon blood," Canley said softly. After saying that, she glanced at the double-faced stone statue that the sword prison had turned into. Tiansong immediately understood. He nodded and said, "I see. Sigh, what bad luck. The Grey Wolf King has done us in." Lord Grey Crow, the great demon of the Goblin Temple, and the radical young god cultivators of the Devil's Palace were still complaining. "Demon emissary you?" Suddenly, an old man of the Devil's Palace stared at the silver rainbow demonic shuttle in midair, and said in a trembling voice, "What are you doing? You?" At this moment, Yu Yuan's attention was also attracted. When he was in the Silver Moon Empire, the silver rainbow devilish shuttle he used to travel to the Starash Sea region had quietly transformed into a dark purple crystal. The crystal contained multicolored dots of light, multicolored clouds, and dazzling flowing lightning. Numerous profound changes were born from it, and it emitted an aura that made him feel uneasy. Demon emissary Yu, who had never revealed her true appearance, was wrapped tightly in a pitch-black bamboo hat. Not even a trace of light seemed to be able to penetrate it. At this moment, her pitch-black bamboo hat and clothes of the same color suddenly became colorful. The silver rainbow demonic shuttle gradually shrank and covered her entire body like a shield, as if it were a unique vessel that had been specially made for her. She pulled off her bamboo hat, revealing an ordinary female face. This face, which wouldn't attract anyone's attention in a crowd, had a pair of extremely colorful eyes. There were no eyeballs in her eyes. There were only clusters of colorful clouds in them. Every cluster of colorful clouds seemed to be her eyeballs and the manifestation of her strange soul. Looking at the hundreds of clusters of colorful clouds in her eyes after they shrank, both Yu Yuan and Tiansong couldn't help but have a feeling. Demon emissary Yu Mo wasn't human. She was a miraculous life form that was formed by many tiny souls, and had combined intelligence and awareness. This is, Mia of the dark spirit race was also dazed by demon emissary Yumo's appearance. Even she, who had seen a lot of things, had never heard of or seen such a strange life form like demon emissary Umo. Demon emissary Umo suddenly rose to power in Devil's Palace in the past 100 years. No one knows who she is, and no one other than Devil Master Tan Xiaotian seems to have seen her face. Withered Sword Shi Quan, who had betrayed the Sword Sect, sized demon emissary Umo up curiously. I only learned about her after I escaped from Sword Prison and chatted with a few old friends. This demon emissary Umo isn't loyal to Zhu Jining, but the Devil Master. Shi Quan sensed an unusual soul fluctuation from demon emissary Umo, and instinctively chose to back away and put some distance between them. Demon emissary Umo was first wrapped tightly in her black clothes and then shackled by the silver rainbow demonic shuttle. Her ordinary face was facing Yu Yuan. After a moment of silence, she said, "Are you surprised? You're my creator and my guide. Are you surprised to see me again after 300 years?" The moment she said this, all the foreign race experts present, including Shi Quan, were confused. Luo Yu, who was also a ghost king, floated over and stared at demon emissary Umo, who had revealed her true face. Her face was filled with confusion and thought. She seemed to have thought of something, but found it hard to believe. "What are you talking about?" Yu Yuan pretended to be calm, but his voice was slightly cold. "Stop trying to hide it. I sensed it the moment you came out of the land of terror and formed your Een divinity." Demon emissary Umo's eyes were formed by many colorful clouds, so it was extremely difficult to see her emotions. Her voice also didn't fluctuate. "What should I call you now? Medicine God Haunch, or my Master of Reincarnation?" Luo Yu shuddered, covering her mouth and crying out softly. She stared straight at Yu Yuan. Her bright eyes seemed to contain thousands of words. Medicine God Haunch. Chapter 955. Medicine God Haunch. Luo Yu and Shi Quan exclaimed in unison, their faces filled with shock. Ghost Demon Envoy rose into the air and gave off a mysterious and dangerous aura. There were no human emotions on her face or in her eyes. She gave people a feeling of emptiness and stupefaction. "Do you want me to continue?" She didn't care about Sansom and Beirut's attacks on the Grey Wolf King. She floated above the dragon-slaying platform like an evil monster, releasing strange energy waves that were extremely hard to detect but were real. Inside the blue-black barrier, Yu Yuan's true body, which had fallen into the fiend demon cauldron, was unusually silent. Ghost King Yu Ling can reincarnate as Evil King Yu Zhen, and then become a skeleton. You can also reincarnate as a human, and use the reincarnation pill to become the current Yu Yuan. Countless rainbow-colored clouds floated in the depths of Ghost Demon Envoy's eyes. They gave birth to thousands of changes, representing the combination of different souls. You are not Hanch's direct disciple, you are the reincarnation of Hanch himself. Her tone was faint. The Ghost Fire Poison Stream Formation in Blue Peak Mountain Range's Evil Wind Valley was created because of you. The poisonous miasma and rainbow-colored clouds inside it were moved from the Rainbow Cloud Miasma Sea. I have been to Evil Wind Valley, the island at the center of the abandoned lands, and experienced the brand new Ghost Fire Poison Stream Formation. I have also met you two. She trusts you so much and treats you like a father, not because you are Hanch's direct disciple. It is because she recognized you as Medicine God Hanch himself. Just like me, she was created by you. She knows that the origin of your soul has not changed fundamentally. With a calm tone, Yu Demon Emissary revealed the truth that Yu Yuan had hidden deeply and that no one had known until now. Ghost King Luo Yu, the former leader of Voodoo, who treated Yu Yuan as a junior brother, had a dazed expression. Shi Quan, who also thought that Yu Yuan was Hong Qi's personal disciple, was also shocked and surprised at this moment. Her face was full of disbelief, as if she still couldn't believe it. Drug god, Haunch. Further away, the heavenly medicine sects Shi Yuxuan, Qin Yun, Qi Yunhong, and the rest were also shaken to the core. Do you want me to give you more proof? Demon Envoy Yu Demon Envoy rose into the air. He was extremely close to Grey Wolf King and Beirut of the Star Race. Howl. The Ash Wolf King let out another heart-wrenching howl. Everyone subconsciously looked over, and saw Mia of the Dark Spirits, Sansom, the leader of the Banshees, and their warriors clashing with each other. Between Mia and Sansom, waves of evil soul energy converged, layer upon layer. The grayish-green soul waves and Sansom's deep soul shock waves merged together, causing countless fine cracks to appear on the ground between the two. The warriors of the Dark Spirit clan and the Banshee clan, who had strange souls, seemed to have lost their minds. The emotions and light that appeared in their eyes were not right. They were filled with madness, bloodlust, irritation, destruction, and death. Pooh! Lord Grey Crow, who had a rank 8 bloodline, stabbed the closest great demon in the form of a giant lion like a spear. It caused blood to flow out from the great monster's chest. The great demon in the form of a lion went mad in an instant. He immediately tore at Lord Grey Crow and another great demon of the Goblin Temple. They had no idea that their opponents were their companions. Almost at the same time, the two young god realm cultivators of the Devil's Palace, who had followed Demon Envoy Yu Demon Envoy, started fighting because they were closer. The two of them had always been famous in the Devil Palace. Jiao Jiao Meng, Meng Jiao Jiao Meng, and Meng Jiao Jiao Meng. What happened? Shi Quan, who was controlling the withered sword, had long since sensed that something was wrong and retreated far away. Seeing the Dark Spirit clan and the Banshee clan fighting, and the two most trusted comrades of the Devil's Palace attacking each other with all their might, she was shocked by this strange scene. Subconsciously, she retreated backward. Retreat. Get as far away from Demon Envoy Yu Demon Envoy as possible. Ghost King Luo Yu and Ghost King Tian Song shouted and retreated from the dragon beheading platform and the area where Demon Envoy Yu Demon Envoy was. As Luo Yu retreated, she looked at Yu Yuan in the distance and asked Yu Yuan with a pleading gaze, "Is it that thing?" Yu Yuan nodded slowly. "I come from the Rainbow Miasma Sea. I am a life form born in that wondrous place. Before the Shunhun sect ruled the world and dominated Hauran, life forms like me were called gods by the mortals. When the Shunhun sect rose to power, we were no longer allowed to be called gods. We were called earth demons instead." Demon Envoy Yu Demon Envoy spoke in a low voice. "I was once called the god of plague. Later, I was called the demon of plague. I originally had a strange territory in the depths of the Rainbow Miasma Sea. I was born there and gradually gained my own consciousness. Because of your arrival, your deep exploration of the Rainbow Miasma Sea, and your research on poison pills, my consciousness awakened and transformed faster. I began to understand myself because of your appearance. It was also you who refined a one-of-a-kind poison pill for me who didn't have a body. You planned to use a divine-grade poison pill as my body and let me stay in my soul form." After saying this, Demon Envoy Yu Demon Envoy made a small crescent moon in the air to express his gratitude. "Later, I learned that you were up to no good. You wanted to use me to achieve your extreme goal. Fortunately, you disappeared without a trace for 300 years. I thought that you had failed to reincarnate and died, just like Zhong Chichen said. The master of the Devil's Palace, Tan Xiaotian, took me in after you and created a new devil art for me. He turned the so-called Earth Demon into the current Demon Envoy Yu Demon Envoy. He is the one I serve now. I am very grateful and chose to rely on him. Demon envoy you. Demon envoy's words were slightly messy. However, she only said those words so that Yu Yuan could understand. She also believed that Yu Yuan could understand what had happened later and what the current situation was. Plague god, plague demon. Spread the soul plague. Shi Quan, who was next to Luo Yu, finally realized the background of demon envoy Yu. Demon envoy from the Devil's Palace in front of her. In the tranquil continent, other than the Land of Terror, there was another terrifying place called the Rainbow Miasma Sea. It was said that it was the source of the poisonous miasma and filthy energy in Howran. In the depths of the Rainbow Miasma Sea, there was a region where any living being that stepped in would kill each other. When the killing was over and there was only one living being left, it would fight with itself until it killed itself. In the ancient legends, the poisonous miasma and filthy energy in that region had an evil power that specialized in poisoning souls. The stronger the soul, the easier it would be for them to be poisoned, and the faster they would lose themselves. 300 years ago, drug god Hanch did not believe in evil and explored the Rainbow Miasma Sea. Because he had not stepped on the path of cultivation, his three souls of heaven, earth, and man had not been refined, so he could ignore the so-called soul plague that poisoned souls. He even sensed a chaotic consciousness that had not fully awakened its intelligence. It was the current demon envoy Yu. Demon envoy. At that time, he was called the Plague Demon. He refined a poisonous pill and gave the Plague Demon a body. He wanted to bring it out of the Rainbow Miasma Sea and use it for himself. Unfortunately, not long after, something went wrong with his reincarnation. His soul scattered, and he disappeared without a trace. His promise to the Plague Demon, his various schemes, and his great ambitions were all gone. After that, Demon Master Tan Xiaotian secretly went into the Rainbow Miasma Sea and replaced Hanch to liberate the Plague Demon, making him the mysterious demon envoy Yu. Demon envoy. Hanch, is that you? After a great shock, Shi Quan suddenly raised her head and looked at Yu Yuan in the barrier. Luo Yu also looked excited. She also wanted to know if the current Yu Yuan was the person who taught her medicine refining in the past. At the same time, Shi Yuxuan, Qi Yunhong, and Zhou Yu, who was proficient in the power of space, also showed a concerned expression and stared at the figure in the barrier. 300 years ago, the medicine god Hong Qi was an extremely controversial figure, with both praise and criticism. Those who loved him to death, and those who hated him wanted to devour his flesh and blood. Was the unknown kid Yu Yuan from the Dark Moon City really the famous drug god Hanch from 300 years ago? Under the gaze of everyone, Yu Yuan hesitated for a moment and no longer concealed it. He nodded and said, "It's me." Chapter 956. Yu Yuan was medicine god Hanch. Luo Yu, Shi Quan, Shi Yuxuan, and the others were still deeply shocked even though they were mentally prepared after Yu Yuan personally admitted it. Successful reincarnations were extremely rare. In the ancient legends, only the Ghost King of the Land of Terror had the possibility of being reborn. There was no precedent of someone successfully reincarnating their three souls with the help of a pill that carried all their memories. Perhaps there had been, but no one knew about it. Now, a living example had suddenly appeared in front of them. This person was someone they were either familiar with or had heard of many legends. Moss Master. Luo Yu stammered and could no longer call him junior brother. 300 years ago, although she was favored by Yu Yuan, due to her identity as a voodoo disciple, she was unable to enter the medicine god sect, and was not personally acknowledged by Yu Yuan as his disciple. She wanted to call him master, but she was too worried to do so. Moreover, after knowing Yu Yuan's true identity, she was clearly a little reserved when facing Yu Yuan. The reverence that was deep in her bones had not diminished much because of the passage of 300 years. No wonder Luo Yu finally understood why Yu Yuan had the confidence to help Beirut refine medicine, and why Yu Yuan could inherit the medicine cauldron and refine medicine. Withered Sword Shi Quan, who was beside him, suddenly understood many things. Medicine God Hanch. The current sect master of the heavenly medicine sect, Shi Yuxuan, was extremely excited. He clenched his fists tightly and his shoulders trembled slightly. Since the current Yu Yuan was the Hanch from 300 years ago, then the decisions he made would be forgiven in the future. This was because the previous sect masters of the heavenly medicine sect and his master were all Hanch's supporters. It could even be said that the reason why the heavenly medicine sect and the medicine god sect were so closely connected was because Hanch had been the sect master of the medicine god sect back then. It was Hanch who had single-handedly established the link between the two sections. Most of the elders in the heavenly medicine sect still worshipped Hanch from the bottom of their hearts. They still felt sorry for his soul dissipating. No matter what happened in the sect, as long as he could resolve the situation in the forbidden land of the fallen moon and inform the elders that Yu Yuan from Dark Moon City was the reincarnation of Hanch from 300 years ago, many problems would be easily solved. He didn't even need to explain too much. He believed that the elders would understand. Voila! Within the prismatic compass, specks of dazzling starlight flew out in a disorderly manner and condensed into the shape of a giant wolf. The Ash Wolf King's demonic soul seemed to have been imprinted and imprisoned in the prismatic compass. The Ash Wolf King's howls gradually weakened. However, the 9-star sage of the Star Clan did not follow up with another attack. Instead, he charged towards Yu Yuan, who was in the greenish-black bounded domain, with a dazzling galaxy. Fizz! Fizz! Starlight filled the sky, and the ink-colored soul power on the surface of the bounded domain seemed to melt away. Yu Yuan's expression was grim as he exclaimed, "This plague is also shockingly destructive to the sealing heaven soul dispersing formation. The reason why the Devil Master took me out of the colorful clouds miasma sea and helped me embark on a different path of cultivation with the poisonous pill you refined was because he wanted to use my characteristics to deal with the grand spell formation in the Forbidden Land." Dark Devil Envoy's expression was wooden, and his eyes were hollow as he said indifferently, "You know my condition." Yu Yuan asked, "Are your uncontrollable characteristics still the same as before?" Dark Devil Envoy nodded. "Still the same." Upon hearing these words, Yu Yuan and Luo Yu's expressions instantly turned grim. The Plague Devil's soul plague only targeted the souls of living beings. It didn't cause any damage to physical bodies or spiritual items. The soul poison was untraceable, and it would spread without anyone noticing. Once a person's soul was infected by the plague poison, they would immediately enter a frenzied state of slaughter. No matter who the living beings around them were, they would fight to the death. The more proficient they were in soul arts and the more powerful their soul was, the faster and deeper the poison would spread. This was one of the plague devil's characteristics. The second uncontrollable characteristic was that once the plague poison spread, even Dark Devil Envoy, who was the culprit, wouldn't be able to control the spread of the soul plague. With her as the center, everyone within a certain range would be affected, regardless of whether they were friend or foe. Furthermore, the plague would continue to spread, and the range would become wider and wider. This was also why Lord Grey Crow was fighting his companion from the Goblin Temple. 2 young God Realm cultivators from the Devil's Palace were engaged in a life-and-death battle. The plague poison released by Dark Devil Envoy would become more and more intense as time passed. It would spread from this area to the entire forbidden land of the fallen moons. At that time, the 3 heavenly devils, Cuello of the Silver Scales, numerous devil generals, guards, and silver scales and black scales at the interrealm passageway would all be engulfed. Zhou Yu, Shi Yuxuan, Wen Lu, Qi Yunhong, and the others at the interrealm teleportation portal wouldn't be spared either. The final result would be that every living being in the forbidden land of the fallen moons, whether they were foreign visitors, local cultivators, or heavenly devils and evil spirits, would die from the plague poison. Not a single living being would be left in the forbidden land. Dark Devil Envoy would be the only one left. Yao Huangqi is the only one who knows about your identity. Yu Yuan turned around and shot a glance at the deep-sea giant winged lizard. No wonder he was so calm when you came in, and even sent a message to Chao Jiazi asking him to stop. He must know that you have the power to destroy everything in the Forbidden Land. If they were outside the Forbidden Land, Dark Devil Envoy wouldn't dare to use the plague poison because of its uncontrollable nature. If he used it recklessly, the cultivators from the Devil's Palace, the Goblin Temple, the Red Devil School, the Heavenly Evil Sect, and the powerful cultivators from the Heavenly Source Continent would all die from the Soul Plague. Only in the Forbidden Land, in the sealing Heaven's Soul Dispersing Formation, could the plague poison unleash its full power. As for Grey Crow, Grey Wolf King, and the radical cultivators from the Goblin Temple and the Devil's Palace, they didn't care if they died. As long as they could kill all of the foreign visitors, their deaths would be worth it. Everyone, retreat to the interrealm passageway and destroy Tang Zheng's Dharma idol. Inside the ward, Yu Yuan immediately ordered in a deep voice when she saw that the inky black soul power before her was beginning to show signs of being melted by the invisible plague poison. "What's this poison?" Luo Yu exclaimed. "I'm trying to think of a way," Yu Yuan said. "What about those who have already been poisoned?" Tian Tsang asked with a frown. "Ignore them for now," Yu Yuan said coldly. Beirut had been poisoned, and so had most of the dark spirit race and demoness. Grey Wolf King, Grey Crow. Yu Yuan's words were tantamount to a death sentence for these people. "It really is that heartless man." Shi Quan took a deep breath. She stared at him with a strange look in her eyes and said, "I vaguely remember that at the end of your life, in order to implement the rebirth plan, many people died because of you. If Nye Qin Tian hadn't died, if you hadn't stepped onto the path of cultivation, you would have been imprisoned in the sword prison just like me." After saying this, she turned into a beam of white sword light and took the lead to leave. After her, everyone who hadn't been infected by the soul plague, including Luo Yu, hurriedly retreated. On the other side, Yu Yuan's Yin divinity stood on the soul-dissolving pool and looked straight ahead. Chao Jiazi, who was controlling the 7 Heaven Palace seals, Feng Pu, Mo Baichuan, Fan Heqing, Jining Shuang, and the other sword immortals all stopped attacking the Grand Formation. "You want to kill me too?" After his identity was exposed, Yu Yuan, who had let go of his ego, smiled and suddenly looked at Jining Shuang. Scenes suddenly appeared in the Yin divinity's body, which had a strange ink-black body. Scenes of hidden memories seemed to appear in her chest in the form of images. In the images, the young and beautiful Jining Shuang was riding the sword of Starfrost with a man whose face couldn't be seen clearly. They were having fun in the mountains. The cold light in Jining Shuang's eyes shattered like ice crystals because of the scenes. The lines on her cold and gloomy face suddenly softened, as if she had been brought back to her youth by the scenes. This great sword immortal, who ranked 4th in the current sword sect, trembled slightly. "You." She breathed heavily and wanted to speak, but found that a simple sentence had become so incoherent. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.